This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
Red hot comic book movie news, shooting up your butthole. The Weekly Planet, the Weekly Planet.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Weekly Planet, where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. My name is James, also known as Mr. Sunday, but with me, as always, is my co-host this week. And probably next week.
Excuse me? Excuse me?
I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Ooh.
Nick Mason, welcome to the show. The show that you're always on and have been on more times than me.
That's true.
Yeah. We've got a little bit
I'll be here long after you're gone, buddy.
I hope so.
I'll be in the room and I'll be talking to this microphone, but I don't understand how any of it works. So it'll just be being stored up on the SD card until there's no more room on the SD card.
He does this actually every week. Like, I go to bed and he's just in there. He's like, and another thing about the Eternals.
I forgot to say this thing. I think there's a scene and there's on the table there's cups and there's 6 of them there, but there's 7 cups. So why did somebody have 2 cups of tea? I don't like it, quite frankly. And then I need an editor.
That's right,
the answer
exactly.
there.
Just before we got to...
I send him all the colleagues, though, and he's like,
oh God, what am I
I just get a lot of texts that are like, good job, buddy. You did it.
We're going to put this up on the special feed.
Yeah, that's right. Can I listen to the special feed? No.
We're going to do a little bit of housekeeping up top. But this week, if you're doing a jump around, because there are time codes below, we're going to talk about Chris Pratt doing more voice roles.
The crispest rat there is.
So we're going to talk about Taika Waititi's new movie, some casting for Christopher Nolan's next movie, some Marvel casting. Then we've got trailers for Morbius and the Boba Fett Variety Hour. Talking about Disney
Starring
Plus.
Boba Fett.
That's right. Talking about Disney Plus Day that's happening next week. And then some shocking Star Wars revelations, Mason.
Oh, is there? Do I know about these shocking Star Wars revelations?
Before we get into both Shang Chi, which we haven't reviewed yet, we're going to review this week. And then off the back of that, we're going to then do the Eternals.
It's a Marvel spectacular.
That's right. One of them we're probably going to talk more about than the other.
I think so too.
If I'm honest.
Oh, but side note, speaking of housekeeping,
Yes.
unless you have some more important housekeeping.
No, do your thing.
You won't know until I've said my thing, and then afterwards you might be like, no, I have more important housekeeping.
I've got a couple
We've left the key under the mat for
is
the housekeeping.
Is it the Two in the Think Tank thing or the Stupid Old Studios thing?
It's a third thing.
Okay.
But it's related, though, because this week I was on an episode of Do Go On.
Oh, yeah.
With our friends Dave, Matt, and Jess. We're all back in the Stupid Old Studios studio. We had a great time. Matt did a report on the mystical lost city of Atlantis, and we all did our famous quips, and some people are saying the best episode ever.
Who's saying that?
I am.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm saying delete all the other episodes and don't make any more episodes.
Just release this episode every week.
Yeah, but it's a good one. People are like, this is a good episode. It was good. It was a fun energy.
Yep,
We're all
yep.
back in the studio.
They're great.
We didn't have to do a Zoom.
No, that's always better.
But speaking of, and I think you mentioned it,
Yep.
our pals over at Stupid Old Studios who do podcasts,
Yep.
they do like video production, they do like
They
live,
do Gamey Game, which is
do
incredible.
Game. They do like
Live comedy.
live comedy like recordings, and
Yep.
they release them, on demand and stuff like that. They are moving
Yep.
studios because there's a bunch of big apartment developments happening around.
They hit a
there.
swarm of bees. They have to move.
That's right. The bees are very aggressive. They're all buzz. You'll hear it in the recording.
Yeah.
But it's gonna. These big developments are gonna be happening very shortly for 2 years.
Yes.
And the developers apparently came round and they were like, "Hey, is our development gonna interfere with your work?" And they're like, "Yeah, our work doing audio recording primarily and video stuff. Yeah, it will."
Probably, yeah.
So they've decided that the most prudent thing, because they can't stop this happening, is to
They're going to
move
hit
studios.
the wasp and bee nest with a rake.
Oh,
Just
you know what they
knock
could
it down.
do? They could transfer the bee's nest to the development.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
They could change Stupid Old Studios. They could pivot from video production to bee production. They could set up all the beekeeping stuff. They could build many nests of bees.
Yep.
And then once these apartments are setting up, they could dump all the bees in there.
Just like an American football.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then people are like, I'd love to invest in a new apartment. They go in there and like, there's bees. And the real estate agent's like, bees. I can't sell an apartment filled with bees.
I mean, I will.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
They've started an Indiegogo campaign
Yep.
To get the funding to, not all the funding, it's going to
No.
cost a lot, but they're like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll see if people like the stuff they do, they can sort of allay some of the costs.
Yep.
With a Kickstarter.
I know
style.
Claire and I have contributed, and I know they've hit many target goals. But
That's true.
I don't know what I like about them, aside from they've done a bunch of stuff like with us also.
Yeah.
Anything that's like filmed properly is like we've ever done is through them. We are looking to do some like live shows.
Yeah.
Like stream live shows next year.
Yeah.
And so yeah, if you can contribute or you'd like to, definitely do.
Definitely do that. They produce good stuff. They give people like comedians like a workspace to
At
write
very
and produce
reasonably
very reasonably priced.
as well,
yeah. Get in there.
Speaking of Stupid Old Studios, Two in the Think Tank are doing their 300th episode. If you've been following, they come up with comedy skits and they have how many do they normally do? They do five an episode.
Yeah.
But what they've been doing for both episode 100 and 200 is just sit down and just do 100 ideas and then they can leave. And then they did the same with 200 and this weekend they're doing 300.
Will this be out in time?
It will be by the time this goes out.
Okay.
Yeah. So
you mean it'll be finished by the time?
It'll be finished, yes, but it'll be available.
Yes,
I
that's
guess
true.
the stream will be available. You're going to be popping in at one point.
I hope so,
I'm going to
yeah.
try and pop in. I don't know if I can at this point, but it's
You're going to
always
pop in
very fun.
last time you popped in and just did the victory lap.
That's true, I did.
They were like idea 199 and you showed up with like some coffee and some bananas, or something.
yeah.
And you were like, what about a sketch about men who bring in bananas to a studio? And they're like, we've done it. James, you're our hero.
And that's how they remember me.
But James, I was there at their lowest point because I
No,
made
you
it
were.
happen. I went in there and I was like, have you come up with any bad ideas, idiots? I didn't say that. It's not true.
And also, I was on an episode of Plumbing the Death Star.
Whoa,
where we talk about.
we're all over the place.
I know. Where we talked about what video game we could do, like in real life.
Oh, right. Like
so-
you could make.
Yes. No, so not make. We're in it, and could we do that game?
Oh, I
like
see.
Complete it.
Like,
as
could you
us?
be a Super Mario Brothers?
Exactly,
example?
yeah. There's a live stream of that. We actually, there's a video of it because we did it for PAX, but
Yep.
that's also on their main feed if you would like to check
We've
it
got
out.
a lot of hustles going on, James.
One more thing. Thank
They
you.
don't make any money, but
No, absolutely not. Well, here's another thing that doesn't make any money. Thank you, everybody who's been voting for Suggestible for the Australian Podcast Awards.
That's right.
I'm seeing a lot of people tweeting at me and sending messages because they're voting for the show. This is my less successful podcast that I do with my wife that we are doing out of pure spite because we want to
Yep.
win it and help ruin the industry.
that's right.
That's the
and
idea.
once again, it would be great if you guys won that award, but also if you
We're building to a bigger thing, aren't
we're building it to a bigger thing, the name of which I've forgotten.
James Mason and Claire ruined the Australian Podcast Awards or something.
Yeah, so if Suggestible wins this year, next year we're
We're not allowed to enter again.
That's
So the
true.
Weekly Planet won, so that's why we're doing Suggestible.
Yeah.
But sorry, go on.
So next year, if we do win it again, we're going to do a one-off podcast. And
Yep.
we're going to see if we can get everybody to vote for that as well.
Yeah.
and then see if we can get banned for life. Is basically what's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is all the housekeeping, I think.
I think it is.
Woof. So that'll be all linked below
Yeah.
if you do want to check it out. But let's now get into the news of the week, starting with the Hollywood Reporter, who are reportering that Chris Pratt, the crispest rat in Hollywood, is going to be voicing Garfield in a new Garfield animated movie.
Now this is hot off the back of him already being cast as Mario in the animated movie Mario.
That's right.
The most Italian Mario there is.
And people are like, why is this happening so much?
Sure are.
I think
He's got a great agent.
Yeah, obviously. I think he's like a good voice actor. Like he's done good voice acting before.
Because he was in the Lego movie.
Yeah, and I'm like, Mario, okay, whatever. And now Garfield's now this, and I'm like, what's going on
This
here?
is fascinating because we mentioned in the past.
He doesn't have the. I don't know.
Because we mentioned previously, is he going to do an Italian accent or not an Italian accent? Sorry, that's
The Mario accent.
Is he going to do the Mario voice for Mario when there's already a guy who does the Mario
Yeah.
voice very well? And we came to the conclusion he probably won't, except maybe for like one scene,
Yeah.
like as a joke or something like that. He'll just do his everyman voice.
Yeah.
But then he's doing this, so he's gonna have to do
gonna
a
have to be
voice
some
for
variety,
one of them,
yeah.
right? Because otherwise it's just Chris Pratt.
I think you
everyman
can just slow
voice.
it down for Garfield.
guess
Just bring
that's
it
probably
down
true,
a
yeah.
notch, you know. Famously, Bill Murray played Garfield last time and also hated doing those movies.
Yeah,
There's
because
that-
he thought it was a Coen Brothers movie, i.e. the Fargo guys.
Yeah.
but it was a different Coen guy.
Yeah. I haven't seen
That's-
Garfield or
Whether
Garfield.
that story is true or not, he said it's true,
Yeah,
but
yeah. Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties. There's also that moment in Zombieland. Spoiler alert: the movie's 13 years old. Where as he's dying, they go, any regrets, and he goes, Garfield.
is there in Zombieland Double Tap? Is there
He is in it.
Is there a scene on the set of Garfield?
Oh, there is, or is it the premiere of Garfield
Something
or
like
something?
that, yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. Anyway, I guess what is kind of annoying about this is there are voice actors
Yes.
in particular, who specialize in this exact thing, and they kind of don't get a look in,
Yeah.
which is kind of because it's like, look, it's whoever doing whatever.
Yeah,
whoever doing whatever.
It's whoever doing whatever. Yeah, you're right. And I get, and the I guess the prevailing wisdom in Hollywood is, well, people aren't gonna come to this movie unless it's got a big name attached to
Which
it.
I
If
totally
it
get,
is,
yeah.
the voice of Fry from Futurama,
Yeah.
Billy West,
Yeah.
people will be like, he's good, but it's not the voice of a famous person. So
But then again, like Pixar, they do cast famous people, but
Yeah.
they more likely, including Chris Pratt, actually,
Mm-hmm.
he's in a Pixar movie. Now I think about it, I haven't seen the Elf Leg movie.
no.
But they go generally for like talent.
Yeah.
And again, there is like Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, in
Yeah,
that as well.
And I think
but
and the general quality of live action actors, celebrities doing these voices has improved immeasurably
true,
over
actually,
the years.
yeah.
They were like early days, like some famous names in like the early Shrek movies are
Yeah.
pretty wooden.
yeah, Justin Timberlake in like Shrek 3 and
It's pretty
that
bad.
springs to mind.
And so they have improved. It is just a case of, it'd be it'd be nice if we could just watch an animated movie and not have to worry about who the famous person is. But I guess that's the
Anyways,
nature of Hollywood.
I'm not going to see this anyway, so I guess I might go with my
I'm
kids,
not going to
but
say
I
it
don't-
either. Yeah, why would
I don't care about Garfield at
Yeah.
all.
I think you're going to have to like see the idea that Garfield is bad into your kids now. Just, I reckon, what you could do is you could just you could make
that
them,
cat's a murderer, I'll say.
or you could just get them to read the Garfield cartoon in
Yeah.
the paper every day for a few weeks, and then they'd be like, "Hey kids, you want to see Garfield?" No,
No, what? No.
Why would I?
Yeah. I actually, as a kid, I read a lot of Garfield. Like, I had the Garfield,
the
collection
the
books or
digest or
whatever.
the-
I
yeah,
had
yeah.
like so many of
Yeah.
those. Yeah. Anyways, speaking of voice acting, this is via a giant freaking robot. As it was
those
destroying
guys.
the city, it's like, I've got some news. There's going to be a Donkey Kong solo movie.
I just want to tell people the news, but I'm programmed to kill.
There's going to be a Donkey Kong solo movie with
Solo movie.
Sure, with Seth Rogen. So
Does it explain how he gets the tie?
I guess because so Donkey
He
Kong
would inherit it from Cranky Kong.
that would make sense actually.
Yeah.
So
Wait, does the
I don't
original
think
Donkey Kong have a tie?
I don't think he does. Does
Oh.
he? I don't know.
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, maybe I was gonna say maybe a bow tie, but that's not true. So Seth Rogen is already voicing Donkey Kong in the Mario movie. So I guess this is like Nintendo are kind of fleshing out their world before they end up doing a Smash Brothers movie, which they're definitely going to do. I think they're going to do like an animated Zelda and or maybe even a live action Zelda. But then,
Okay, the 1981 Donkey Kong does not wear a tie.
well, that's because he was still at high school and he didn't need to wear one for work. Is that right?
That's probably true.
Yeah.
Well, he is on a building site, and I don't think he's the foreman. So why would
You
he
don't
wear
think
a tie?
the man who's kidnapped a woman or the gorilla that's kidnapped a woman and standing at the top of the building isn't the foreman?
I can't rule it out though. Can you rule it out? I don't think
I
you
definitely
can.
can't.
Yeah.
I definitely cannot. So there you go. I like Donkey Kong. And I should go back and finish playing
You'll say anything.
Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze on the Switch, which I have,
Okay.
which is a terrific game. Anyway, this is via the Diz Insider.
Bad name.
No, it's good.
So this is a Disney insider.
I don't know.
How's it spelled? DIS insider?
Yes.
So this would be in the
Well, it's actually Dis Insider, I guess, because it's DIS.
all right.
Oh, no, it'd be double S if it was Dis. So is it Diz?
Like it's like disincentive.
Yes.
It's like they're the insider, but they don't want to be doing this.
Yeah.
Or they don't value their own scoops.
You might be right. So you might remember Scarlett Johansson was doing the Tower of Terror movie. She was going to step away from Disney things because they didn't pay her or whatever for Black Widow.
yeah.
But she's back on board. We know that. But now apparently Taika Waititi is going to direct this movie.
What's the Tower of Terror?
It's a ride or a experience.
But it's not a Disney ride.
No, it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay, so she wasn't going to do Tower of Terror, but now she is going to do Tower
And they
of Terror.
did a movie in like 98 with like Steve Guttenberg, The
Okay,
Tower
yeah.
of Terror. So they're doing this again.
Great.
Because Pirates that one time.
What is the Tower of Terror? Is it like a towering inferno situation?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Maybe. We'll never know. Do you want to go to Disneyland one day?
I've been to Euro Disneyland.
And?
So yes, I'd like to go to a good Disneyland.
Got him.
Yeah.
Let me just check what the Tower of Terror ride is. I know there's a lot of people
Okay.
who are... I think they changed it into the Guardians ride.
Okay. Well, I'm looking up the towering
It's an
inferno.
accelerated drop tower located at something.
And they're making a movie out of that.
And it was based on the Twilight Zone. And then there's also one called the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
Like, I can understand that, Jungle Cruise, at the very least, is a cruise through a jungle.
Yes.
But this is just one of those big
guess.
drop rides.
What I think, because I went to Disneyland also, the one in Tokyo, but I'd also like to go to a good one. And they're really good at hiding the line a lot of the time. So you're
Okay.
going through and like things are kind of happening, and I did
yeah.
the haunted ride, and you go into a room and a painting fucking talks to you or whatever.
Yeah,
you know.
right.
Anyway, sorry. This it was revamped into the Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Okay,
More
sure.
recently. So there
Is
you
it
go.
going to become the Police Academy stunt show at any
Oh my
point?
god, I would love that, Mason. I would love that so much. And the car flips.
Yeah.
I once saw the Police Academy stunt show at Warner Brothers Hollywood on the Gold Coast in Queensland, and you know how the car flips? Car didn't flip.
What?
Exploded, and the car, because it's on like a gimbal normally for people who don't know.
I'm
and
going to
the
be.
car did not flip.
I'm going to bet that we've already told this. You've already told this story, and then I've also followed up with the fact that once I went to see the Phantom of the Opera with my mum,
Yeah.
and the chandelier didn't drop.
That's a
and
pretty-
she complained after
That's
that.
well, fair enough.
Yeah.
That's a fairly significant part of
Well, I've
that.
spent most of my life going, is it supposed to drop?
Yes,
Because, yeah, okay.
it
great.
does.
Yeah. So anyway.
It's supposed to kill 40 people in the audience.
Yes. I mean, but anyway, I'm willing to bet we've done this exact thing. But
I might put some cooling on if you don't
Okay,
mind.
no,
Mason.
please do.
Yeah.
I follow Jenny Nicholson on Twitter, who's the video essayist you would know.
Yes, I met her.
And you've met. And done some videos with. But she is a big Disney and theme park generally aficionado.
Yeah.
And it seems to be that a lot of Disney stuff is kind
They're
of
nickel
falling
and
apart. They're
diming.
nickel and diming
Yeah.
people. They're cutting out and understandably because there's fewer people there, but also they have billions of dollars.
Yeah.
So they're cutting out like different food things, and they're reducing the
You have to pay for this, but then in addition, you got to get on an
Yeah.
app and pay again to whatever.
we've reached the point where there's so many people go to these theme parks that you can buy a fast pass to skip lines, but then if everybody has the
Doesn't
fast
mean
pass,
anything,
it doesn't
yeah.
mean anything. So you need an additional
Yeah.
fast
You need
pass
a-
on
you
top
need
of
a
that.
gun.
You're going to give you a gun. It's a tranquilizer gun, but still.
Yeah, yeah.
You sort of have to eyeball the dosage. Every time you see someone, you're like,
I
ooh.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's people have blamed a lot of that on the current Disney CEO, whose name I cannot remember, because he was in charge of parks and he was very much about this nickel and
Randall
dime.
Park.
Yeah, Randall Park. That's right,
Yeah.
from the Avengers movies or whatever. So, but yeah, that's fun. I think if I ever end up going, because I've told my son that we are going to go at some point, I'm just going to splash out for the biggest kind of, because I don't want to be I don't want to go and then not
You don't
do
want
any of the
to. You
stuff.
don't want to go.
And then I don't get on the app at 7 a.m. and then I miss half the stuff.
You don't want to go halfway around the world, and you're spending a lot of money anyway, and you don't want your son's memory to be like, oh, we waited in a lot of lines and we didn't really do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But also, I think you should probably stress every time you do a ride or you get a churro or whatever, you have to be like, and never again. Just to be clear, this is never happening again. So drink it in, enjoy it, enjoy your churro. You're gonna enjoy it more.
Bigger smile.
Bigger smiles.
Yeah. So that should be fun. Hopefully they'll fix it by then.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll see you there.
Yeah, can't wait. Anyways, Matthew Damon and Robert Downey Jr. have joined Christopher Nolan.
Matthew Damon and Bob Downey Jr.
Thank you. Have joined Robert.
Oh, imagine if he spent his career as Bob Downey. Because there's a sort of a camp.
Yeah.
There's a camp Australian entertainer
called
Bob Down.
Yeah, that's really fun. So they've joined Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer movie about the guy who made
It's going to be called Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer, yeah.
His buddies called him Oppenheimer.
Is the kind of guy, do you reckon you'd still be friends with him after the bomb? Because some of your friends you write off, you're like, oh, I think this is a bit shady.
Yeah, I reckon I'd be like, I reckon most of the stuff, like most of your friend stuff, like you go on a brunch or you go to the movies or something, to me personally would be overshadowed by the fact that he invented the atomic bomb.
Yeah. Even though he regrets it a little bit? Because he still did it.
He still did it, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. So there we go.
Yeah. And he'd be like, look, I didn't personally drop the atomic bomb. And I'd be like, yeah, but I mean,
Did you see
You're spoiling my Eggs Benedict here, I splashed out. I got a side of halloumi on there.
That's right, yeah.
You're ruining this.
Did you see also for the Alec Baldwin incident? He was involved, but it wasn't the only incident on this. The woman that was shot on the set of Rust.
Yes.
That's now come out and said one of the defense is that
It might have been sabotage.
somebody put a live round in it on purpose or whatever.
So it's the accusation is that somebody a union crew member put a live bullet in there so somebody would get shot.
Okay.
So then they could say, oh well, safety's lax around here.
Yeah.
Nobody would do that.
Women will find out, but
I
yeah, it
guess we
seems
will,
a bit kind of like
It seemed like what do they say? They say never attribute to malice what can be
down to incompetence.
Put down to incompetence.
Yeah.
And I reckon, again, we're not there. We don't know.
No,
But,
maybe it did happen.
Seems like I don't think anybody would.
Why would they want to kill?
Exactly. And if it's like, they've got, if you could say they had a motive, like why would the 6 union guys who got turfed off the set, why would one of them put a bullet in there?
Yeah.
I would say it's much more likely to be that thing that we heard about where some of the crew
cans
were like shooting cans out the back of the studio and they just left a bullet in one.
That's right. And The Rock has come out this week off the back of promoting his movie Red Notice or whatever it's called, which is that Netflix movie with Ryan Reynolds and Gal Gadot, which by all accounts, it's whatever.
Sure is.
Can't wait. This legacy of Netflix movies is really it's good stuff, isn't it?
Look, every once in a while,
You get an Extraction.
You get
I just
Extraction.
watched The Harder They Fall.
the Western, yeah.
It's really great.
It's really good?
So that's
Okay,
that
good.
one
All
I
right.
really liked,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
But yeah, he's not going to be using real guns on his movies anymore.
That's good.
Which is terrific because you don't really need to, I
No.
guess. Yeah.
But again, I think
And you're not hurting anybody by not doing it.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think also, like when we say, I think it is correct that they probably should stop using live guns because we have the technology to make them look real now. But also, like
And you
that,
can have like airsoft and whatever.
yeah.
And
But I think also the one of the, like we said, I think that shouldn't take away from the idea that like union people should be able to go home and sleep. And stuff like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
You shouldn't go, well, actually, we got rid of the guns,
Yeah.
so let's keep everything going the
I
way it is.
completely
But-
agree. And again, like as we mentioned, if it is done properly, it's completely safe.
Yeah.
If you follow the rules and regulations and, you have a proper person on set, then these things do not happen.
That's true.
So, I don't think, you're right. It's not like the main, it's one of the issues, obviously, but it's not the main thing, like, take away from
Yeah,
this. Anyways, this came via Reddit on the Marvel Studio Spoilers Reddit page.
I've heard of Reddit.
So take this.
Do you get notifications from the Reddit app?
I turn.
It's like, are you interested in this?
I turn off notifications for literally everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
except
get
for text
The
messages.
Reddit app has decided that
From some people.
The Reddit, yeah. The Reddit app has decided that the only thing I'm interested in is the Seiko subreddit.
Oh,
the
okay,
watch
yeah,
brand.
yeah.
And so, like every day, multiple times a day, I get a notification, and it's like some guy who's just like, I just bought this Seiko, and then it's like 20 replies of like, looks great, man, good for you. It's very wholesome.
Money well spent.
No, you did it. It looks like a nice watch you've got there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, this particular Marvel Studios Spoilers Reddit page, which I got an alert for, the only thing on my phone I have, that activates.
Are you gonna respond to any of my texts that I sent today?
Did you send it? I thought you didn't. I didn't even know. I didn't even know that you had a phone.
mad.
I didn't know you had a phone, Mason.
I just got a phone. In my defense, I just got a phone.
Jim Carrey is rumored to be playing MODOK across
yeah.
multiple Disney Plus series, including She-Hulk. Massive grain of salt because Reddit. But it seems like it just could be a thing.
Yeah, we can't rule it out.
Why don't they give it to a voice actor? You know
Like
what I mean?
Patton Oswalt?
One for he's both, but one for one. You know what I mean? Every time a famous actor gets
Yeah.
cast in an animated movie,
Non-famous, but just a regular guy.
yeah. How quickly?
What they do is, what happens is you're a Jim Carrey. Oh no, you're a Chris Pratt,
Yep.
and you go into the offices and you sign your contract to be Garfield.
Yep.
And then they just open the window of the office and they just you pick something off the desk and you throw it out the window and it hits somebody. They're MODOK now.
It's a dart.
It's a dart.
It's a regular dart.
Ah!
So I wonder if this is true. Like, how big does he go with it? Because we
Yeah.
know also he does serious and real and stuff,
Uh-huh.
but he's kind of a level of surreal that's above the
Yeah.
MCU. Like, there's jokes, but he's like
Yeah.
can go far above that. And how quickly are they going to change him from regular man to giant face? Because I think they'll probably ease into it, won't they?
I reckon they might go giant face straight away.
It was in the Avengers game,
Yeah.
which I sort of played. MODOK starts as a man and then evolves. I
Right.
haven't played all the way through, but presumably he evolves into the big face.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I reckon they might start it in like Avengers Age of Ultron style, where it's just in the middle of the action and it's just some Avengers fighting MODOK.
Okay, that'd be cool.
You know?
I would love that. And they're just like, what's this?
Sure. Or maybe like, we're sick of this. We've
Yeah.
been fighting this dude for a year. His big head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not continuously.
That would be great if it was a year. They're just tagging in, taking shifts. They set up little bunk beds so they
Yeah.
can sleep in between being shot with lasers. The Wrap is reporting that, I don't know how to pronounce this, Gael Garcia Bernal.
Oh, he's going to be
Yep.
in a thing.
Yes.
I shouldn't have stopped you because I can't. I saw it.
No, go on.
He's going to be MODOK.
Yep, you're right. He's going to be MODOK.
The back end of MODOK.
The bus.
Yes.
No, he's going to be the werewolf in
Werewolf by night, man by day.
Yeah, so that's right. So he, if you don't know, he is in the movie Old. He's the dad in the movie Old.
Yes.
So cool. And so this is going to be, as we've mentioned before, a 2022 Halloween special on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So that's fun. Bit of, because they'll do like a Star Wars, it's a spooky Star Wars Halloween, but it's like a whatever. Look out, everybody, it's a ghost. It's a ghost. That's good.
Exclusive audio right there.
So, trailers ahoy, though.
The ghost's taking all our Lego.
Trailers.
Everything's Lego. My house made of flesh, or am I made of plastic? All the world is the same. Ghost largely irrelevant because of the horrors of our regular existence. We're Lego.
Trailers ahoy. There we go. A couple of trailers this week. One of them was for Mickey Morbius, the Dracula Man.
That's right.
So
I'm loving that.
Thank you. I actually wrote that down. So that's a Morbius movie.
Yeah.
It's so Jared Leto.
Yeah.
He's a sickly lad, and he's like, I need Dracula powers. I'm going to go to this cave and get a Dracula power.
Yeah.
And then as he puts his hand into the Dracula powered device, he goes, everybody better run because you're all going
to die immediately. Maybe you should have left early. Maybe I should have mentioned this earlier.
Yeah, but he didn't.
No, that's true.
And he gets big Dracula powers.
Yeah.
He's got a big Dracula energy. Yeah. He also knows Venom because he does. He's like, I'm Venom. At one point.
Yeah. Do you think that was a riff on set?
Oh man, I love riffs, and I hope so.
Same.
Just something like that off the dome.
Did you see the trailer that was sort of intercut with interviews with the cast? And Tyrese is in this, and he's got a robot arm or something.
Does he?
Yeah, he's got a robot arm,
Couldn't
he's either got a robot arm or like a Iron Man style arm.
Not like made of bats.
No, it's just. No.
Remember in Dracula Untold, he had a big fist. He could do a big bat fist punch.
I remember that? Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, do you think this movie will reach those lofty heights of a big bat fist?
It's funny you should mention that. I was going to save this for later, but we got a tweet here from Craig Ambrose on Twitter who says #weekly.
Do you think he pronounces it Craig or Craig?
Well, in America they say Craig a lot of the time.
They say Craig, yeah.
I got pulled up on that, and I'm like, what? Fuck no.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Look, a lot of the times I will kowtow to the way that I pronounce things, and I will say. I'll say whatever, but that's wrong.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We will not bend on this. We will not break.
This is from Craig, who says, the writer of Morbius is the same guy who wrote Dracula Untold, the man who inspired the Gamers On Award.
Wow.
What do you think of that?
Ooh, I think maybe it's going to be a strong contender when it comes out.
Yeah. I mean, it's linked to other, like a bigger universe. And speaking of, this is interesting stuff because within the trailer, it's confused about what universe it is because there's the Oscorp logo from the Amazing Spider-Man series. There's a Spider-Man poster on a wall, which is the Raimi Spider-Man suit.
That's true, yes.
And there's Adrian Toomes, who is, of course, from the MCU as the Vulture. And I wonder, and I don't think this is it, but I wonder whether, because this takes place after Spider-Verse, that Spider-Man No Way Home movie that's coming out, that there is going to be a merging of universes, or do you think this is just a whatever we've got?
I think it's that one, and I think maybe it wouldn't surprise me if the people involved in the making of Morbius don't really know what's going to happen in Spider-Man No Way Home, and maybe they'll it would not shock me if they ADR'd in like post the release of No Way Home, just like you see the back of Morbius' head and he's just like, since the merging of the universes, you see the head nodding, since the merging of the universes.
just a mop. Since the merging of the universe.
Yeah. I enjoyed that. And again, it's been literally hours since I've seen this trailer, but the interview with Jared Leto where I think he's like, well, the thing about Morbius is he's a man and then he's a man and then he's weak, but then he's strong. And I think that's a really interesting take on the superhero genre.
Yeah, isn't it?
It's like, yep, great, man, cool. I do enjoy any time like it's somebody who's either never done a superhero movie before, or they've been convinced it's like a real elevation of the genre, and they're just like, it's a real take on a man who who doesn't know what to do, but then he knows what to do. Or
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like, I saw an interview.
I remember that for Hancock.
Yeah.
Will Smith was like, we've never seen anything like this before. He can fly and he's got super strength and he's got laser eyes. It's like, no, I've never seen that before. It's really interesting.
There was I like him a lot, but there was.
I mean, he was an angel, so I
That's
guess there
true,
was
yeah.
that. But go on,
Yeah.
sorry.
I saw the a few months ago when Shang-Chi was released in the rest of the world. I
Yeah.
saw the iconic roles with Tony Leung, who plays
Yeah.
Mandarin. And when he gets to the Mandarin, he's like, I think it's really, and I like him, but it was very much like, and it's it's a very interesting take because it's he's a villain, but he also like he's a family man, and it's also like what's it's a really
true.
and I'm like, oh, you haven't seen any of these Marvel movies. They're all this. They're all like, what if somebody had powers but they're conflicted or whatever. It's just-
Absolutely.
this is quite quaint.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Anyway, we'll talk about that movie. I like him.
Yeah, I
he's
do
good.
too.
Another trailer we got was the Boba Fett Variety Hour, which might be a limited series, or I'll probably end up doing a few, where it follows the escapades of one Boba Fett.
That's right.
We got out of the Sarlacc. We saw that in The Mandalorian. and now he's
yeah,
getting
yeah.
his own adventures where he's taken over Jabba the Hutt's palace, and he's no longer a bounty hunter, and he wants to rule or command.
He just wants to rule, man.
I'm going to rock out, everybody, he says. He's got a jizz band and he's touring the
That's
galaxy.
right.
No, it is. He wants to rule through
I've
respect.
traded my flamethrower for this sweet keyboard.
So yeah, it looks cool, and I'm excited to watch this. I guess I think it debuts late December. I want
His
to
foes
say.
don't respect him, it seems.
Why wouldn't they
Probably-
respect him?
probably
Because he
'cause
took
he
his
got-
helmet off.
And he got ate by that Sarlacc, probably.
I think it would be interesting if they
and he's bad at his job.
and he's bad at his job. Retroactively, they make it he never took his helmet off because he's just a clone, and they'd be like, "We no what?
Sure,
You're
yeah.
one of these guys?
Yeah.
There's a million of these guys." Though they do get phased
Why don't
out.
you have any hair, though? What happened to you?
He got melted in the Sarlacc.
Oh, yeah.
Though he
okay.
does look a
Does he have
little.
eyebrows?
I think he's not as pasty in this one. So it also needs to explain, like, he must have got out of the Sarlacc relatively soon after the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And then he spent 5 years with the Sand People in the desert, it seems.
Yeah.
I don't know much. Maybe he gets some Bacta. Like, he gets backed it up.
Sure.
He backs it up, mate.
Yes, that's
You know
true.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett, what do you think?
Looks cool.
Yep. Your favorite character?
Yeah, I love him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I also love him.
I'm gonna dress as him for my wedding.
New armor or old?
Oh, both. I'm gonna switch it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
For the ceremony?
Yeah,
of
I
that.
haven't decided which is which yet. But
Yeah, that's really good.
Oh, you know what?
You could ding it up in between.
Yeah, or I could do like old school for the ceremony, but
Yeah.
then for the reception, white. All white.
Oh, like the original Boba Fett armor
Yes.
was going to be. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
But then people might be like, you Stormtrooper.
Yeah.
So, original armor during the ceremony.
Yeah.
Reception, flames down the sides. Black with flames down the sides.
That's pretty cool. What's your wife got? Doesn't really matter, I guess.
No,
What's
it's
your
irrelevant. Who cares? I don't know, dress or whatever. I don't know.
dress or whatever?
She's going to be operating the flamethrower, so,
Just by the propane tank.
Yeah, just something flameproof, I guess. Going down the aisle.
Disney Plus Day next week, where we're going to get a look at a bunch of things, like a bunch of announcements. I'd say we're probably going to get a look at like the Mandalorian, the Bad Batch, Andor, the Cassian Andor series, and the Obi-Wan Kenobi series is apparently going to get a trailer. That is the rumor, and I guess we'll get some Marvel announcements and maybe some Ms. Marvel stuff and whatever. I don't know, to be honest. We'll have to see.
An exclusive behind-the-scenes featurette from Hawkeye, probably.
Probably right, actually.
And it'd be like, the thing about Hawkeye is he's a superhero, but he's also a family man. Can you imagine that?
Is that actually true?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing how
He was shooting arrows down the aisle at his wedding.
his wife's just handing him arrows.
Yeah.
I guess it's both our
Honey,
days.
it's just because I've got a thing and you don't have a thing, all right? If you had a thing,
My thing could be your thing, though, don't you think?
yeah, mate, give it a go. Give it a go. Oh, she shot someone. Ooh.
It's great to have shared interests.
I think so too.
So what was I saying? I can't remember. That's right. It would be interesting to see the difference between this and DC Fandom.
Yeah.
Because I feel like these guys like compress all their news into like
Yeah.
a succinct amount of time, and I'm hoping that's still the case.
Yeah.
As opposed to Fandom, which went for 14 hours or whatever. That's right. Did you live stream it?
Yeah.
We should have done that live stream.
No.
We absolutely should have.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. All right. Last
We'd
minute.
still be feeling the effects now.
We would.
These young influencers, they can just shake it off.
They know what
Doing
they're
a
doing.
14-hour stream at 3 a.m. or whatever.
Not for me.
No.
Star Wars news, Mason. More Star Wars news.
Honk. That's a Sand People horn.
Oh, good.
Or the horn the Sand People are afraid of, whatever it is. Cripes.
That's spooky stuff.
Jiminy Christmas. Where the Sand People are afraid of that. Scaring us with your horn.
Josh Horowitz, who spoke, he's got a podcast, and he spoke to Matt Smith, who was at a Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah. And Matt Smith had some big revelations.
So he was like, what were you doing in The Rise of Skywalker?
What were you doing
What are you
in
up to, Matt Smith?
What are you doing, man?
And he said, I could not possibly say, but it was a pretty groovy thing. It was like a big
groovy.
That's what he says. Big story detail, like a, transformative Star Wars story detail, but never quite got over the line. It was a big shift in the history of the franchise. There was no costume test. There were a couple of meetings to talk about it. Maybe I can come back, you never know. So we reported on this.
He's saying nothing.
Yes. And I said, I was like, I think this guy's in it, and because it was reported by like major trades, and I was like, he's going to be young Emperor.
Yes.
Either he's going to be a young clone, or he's going to be like the original Emperor, and everybody else is like a vessel that he's been using.
Oh, sure.
Some variation on that, and then he gets to do a lightsaber fight with fucking Rey and Ben Solo or whatever at the end. Which, you know what? They probably should have done. Because I think just a man going like, I'm getting all the power. I've got everyone's power in this room. You come in this room, I'm going to get your power.
Sure.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
We all had a good time at the cinema. It made sense and we liked it. But so, yeah, there you go. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're probably
Missed
right.
opportunity.
Because otherwise he would just say, yeah, I was a trader on the planet having a celebration or whatever.
Yeah.
I was a guy it was a fun little cameo, and I was a guy in a shop or whatever.
Isn't it weird that he's like, if he did this, he would have been like original Skynet as well. Just like a guy at the end who turns up and just goes, it was really me.
Yeah.
Just do that for a couple of movies. I love it.
Maybe that's what happens in Last Night in Soho. I haven't seen it yet.
Apparently it's very good. But also not doing very well, which is a shame. But I think that's out. Is that out here this week, I think?
I don't know.
I don't know anything. But you know what I do know, Mason?
What's that?
We're going to talk about Shang Chi right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We did not talk about this because we've been in lockdown, or we've been out of lockdown for 2 or 3 weeks now. I don't know. Who cares?
Feels good.
Feels great. But
get an ice cream.
But also,
enjoy the sunshine.
We're still under communist rule, and people need to remember that. And if anybody in another country could liberate our country, that would be terrific.
Yeah, really good.
Anyways.
We need that. We need that from you, idiots. That's what we need.
At a budget of $150 to $200 million, it's
pretty cheap these days.
I guess. It has a box office of $423 million, which is also pretty impressive considering everything that's been going on.
World.
And I don't think it got released in China as well, maybe. I'm pretty sure it didn't. Or it hasn't as of yet. What do you think the story was?
Oh, okay. There's Shang-Chi. He's a guy. And he's learned the kung fu. He's learned all the martial arts.
How much of it?
All of it.
Yeah.
From and his dad's like, I'm a big tough guy, and you're going to be a big tough guy too. But Shang-Chi's like, I don't want to be a tough guy.
Why would I be a tough guy when I could be a regular guy?
I want to be a karaoke guy.
I'm a karaoke guy.
And chill and what have you. And I want friends in San Francisco. I want to get a bread bowl and fill it with chowder. I want to do that because that's what you do in San Francisco.
I want to do that too.
I want to ride a cable car.
I want to do that.
They don't call them trams for some reason, but they're trams basically.
Yeah, but
I want to do
there can
that.
be different names for things. That's okay. You're just too close to trams.
That's true. I can't. I have no objectivity when it comes to trams. But then, and I'm going to get away from my dad. I'm sick of my dad. But then Dad's like, "No, I'm going to get you.
You're going to have to do some.
Get you for reasons. I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to. You're
going to have to do some kung fu with me.
Yeah, that's right. I'm gonna. I could give you a phone call, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna give you a call with a bunch of thugs.
Yeah,
give you a thug call.
Like a Zangief looking dude's gonna come after you.
Yes,
with a big razor arm.
I'm gonna send Zangief.
Yeah. I actually saw this with Dave Lee, popular YouTuber and podcaster. We saw it at the drive-thru. Not a recommended experience. Not because of Dave Lee. He's a
See
delight.
a movie with Dave Lee if you can.
If you can. But you know,
don't talk to Dave Lee. Don't talk during the cinema experience. Don't talk to anyone. But like occasionally turn away, turn to him, and give him a bit of a hug. Can you believe this?
What do you reckon?
Can you believe the magic of cinema that's happening right now?
But I think it's good for like movies that like you don't really are that interested in.
Sure.
But like, but you know, it was the sound on my car kept cutting out because of it's like beeps and it's like your battery's dying and it's like shut up, I'm trying to watch a movie. Trying to watch a movie here.
I mean, that's probably because you drive the old jalopy that Archie Andrews drives in the Archie.
No,
cars.
the problem is we have a newer car And so it's got all beeps and stuff.
Okay.
And and it like warns you, it's like, your radio's on. It's like, I know, I'm at the fucking movie. So it would like beep every 5 minutes to tell you, and it was a nightmare. Anyway, movie was pretty good though, I thought.
I thought it was good. A lot of fun, yeah.
Yeah. I think out of the two movies we are going to talk about today, this is definitely the most MCU-esque of the two.
Well, I'll save it for later.
Sure.
But yes.
But, it's like
outwardly, I would say
more, origin-y and tied within the universe.
Yeah.
And looks, a lot like.
It's got it's pretty lighthearted. You know, the world's at stake as per usual, but it's pretty lighthearted, and there's fun and banter, and
there's a forest that eats you or something.
There's a forest that eats you, magic forest.
Yeah.
What do we think of Simu Liu as Shang
good.
Chi?
He's a good leading man.
Good charm. A lot of charm, I think.
Yeah. And also on top of that, he's a very good martial artist, it turns out. Who knew?
Yeah.
Now, you've also talked about, we're going to do non-spoilers and then some spoilers.
Yeah.
But
do you think he can really do that split in the air kick? Or do you think
seems like he did it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, you mentioned
he probably didn't do it on the bus.
I don't know.
Okay.
Was it in a tram? Was it a cable car? Or was it a bus? No, that was a bus.
It was just a bus, yeah.
Thanks. Thank you.
It's just a bus.
Thank you for the had those one of those accordion things in the middle or whatever. But you mentioned that like most of the martial arts is kind of up top, and by the end it's just like it's a big battle and whatever, which I didn't think about. But yeah, probably all the better martial arts stuff is in the first half.
Going into this, I think we've had the question: how do you do a martial arts movie in the MCU, considering everybody knows martial arts and everybody does, It's everything's all about the martial arts, and if you don't have lasers shooting out of your hands,
what are you even doing?
But you've got to be able to do flips and kicks and big punches and so forth. So how do you make that impressive? And I think they did. I think there are some opening sequences with martial arts that are spectacular, even in the sense of like we have an origin to the Mandarin, and he gets into a martial arts that is sort of a magical martial arts fight quite early on, and even given that that's CGI assist and there's wire work and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like Crouching Tiger.
This is very fun. It is very much in the style of your Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. It's very fluid and exciting. And then later we get an action sequence that is in the trailers, which is Shang-Chi fighting a bunch of thugs on a bus. Yeah. And I think that's really good. Yeah. I was like, okay, this is how you do martial arts in the MCU. He's just a martial artist, but he's the best there is.
And the scenario around it is interesting because they're on a speeding bus. And it's like if you just did that on, say, I don't know, in a room or a corridor, I guess.
But I love the idea of this guy, and he can think on his feet, and he's fast, and he's the best, and he can handle multiple attackers at the same time while things are all collapsing around him. It's very much Kramer on the bus. You know what I mean?
It's very much Kramer on the bus. Yeah.
But I kind of feel like the martial arts of the martial arts movie kind of peaks there.
I agree.
There's some
there's some scaffolding stuff a bit later.
Yeah. But it does sort of turn into a kind of fantasy epic towards the end, and there is way less, and
people are flying around more and whatever.
I think an issue that I have to deal with this week is probably
you need to get 2 Boba Fett costumes for one. That's a big, for your wedding.
Oh, that's true also. Yeah. But also something that I have to deal with, when I'm talking about movies is I have to sort of review a movie not for what it isn't or what I expected it to be when I went in and what it actually is.
Yeah.
And I think for this movie in particular, I'm like, okay, well, it isn't going to be just straight up martial arts. It isn't going to be Enter the Dragon.
No.
The entire movie, although Enter a Dragon.
Boy, is there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably do spoilers, but because, everybody in the world has seen this except for us.
That's true.
There's some other things I guess we can talk about. So were you saying that your expectations of this may be...
I didn't expect as much kind of magic and fantasy.
Yeah, I did. I'm like, I kind of get an idea. From seeing like a dragon in the trailer, I'm like, I'm pretty confident that this is going to go
that's probably true,
a certain way. But I think, a lot of the times these origin movies, especially the ones that they make now...
Yes.
They're not as good. You know what I mean? Like I was watching Doctor Strange the other day, and I love Doctor Strange. I think it's great. Because I hadn't seen it since it came out. But, getting towards the end, it's just like, they're just hitting each other with, firecrackers.
Mm-hmm,
and it doesn't kind of go beyond that much. Whereas I think this goes kind of beyond just, like it does more with an origin than say like Captain Marvel, I feel, did, or Doctor Strange.
Yeah, you're probably right, and there is, that familial connection. He's Shang Chi has sort of fled from this life for so long, but now he's got to get back into it, and it's crazy.
It's heck.
There's a lot of and I think there's some interesting CG character designs and stuff like that. I'm going to say best movie ever, though.
I'm going to say best movie ever. Should we just do some spoilers now?
Let's do some spoilers.
I do have some non-spoiler thoughts, but whatever. I hope that...
Yeah, whatever.
So his friend in this, one of the people he hangs out with is Aquafina.
Yes.
And I hope that they just stay friends.
Yeah.
There's kind of a hint that maybe, like their family's kind of like, her family's like, you guys going to get together or whatever? And they're like, we're just mates. We just like do karaoke at steel cars or whatever.
Yeah,
I hope it stays that way because I think that dynamic is fun. I mean, I think if it went that way, you could still keep that dynamic the same. But I like the idea of seeing like a man and a woman and they're just mates.
I love the idea of just seeing a man and a woman.
Yeah, but like, you know what I mean? You don't really see that in a movie or a show. It has to lead to a thing.
No, that's true. Yeah,
know?
exactly. You're exactly right.
And
but I definitely got the sense of like, buds for life.
I hope
thing,
so.
which I think was good,
Anyway, yeah. I also think that the tournament that they go to, I really enjoyed because we get to see the Abomination fight Wong.
Yes.
But they're also mates, it seems.
I mean, sure. So Wong is friends with Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
And a terrorist who tried to kill him that time.
That's fun, isn't it?
That is fun. It's like when you're friends with like two people who don't like each
Yeah,
other.
love that.
And you're like, oh, okay, I've got a thing. I've got drinks, but I can't invite that guy because
Yeah.
he hates.
Because they're going to
the
punch
other
each
guy.
other.
Yeah.
But I think having revealed that in the trailer, there's not another exciting reveal in that tournament. It's only a brief moment.
No, that's true,
Like he
yeah.
fights his sister, which
Yeah.
I was expecting because, in the comics, she's also trying to run it underground, whatever.
Uh-huh.
So, we get that. I'm like, who else are we going to get at this tournament?
Yeah,
you know what I
right.
mean? What other MCU characters could pop up? None.
That's true.
Which I know was more like, that's my problem. Because you know what I mean?
That's what I'm talking about, yeah.
Yeah, more than anything else. But it was a bit disappointing that reveal was
In the
already
trailer,
known.
yeah.
Yeah, but I did like the fight was good between
true, yeah.
all of those fights in the tournament. And your mate, Ronnie Cheng, made
Isn't
an
it?
appearance
Yeah,
as well.
that's true.
Which is cool.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I just want everybody to know that I believed Ronnie Cheng's a big success now, but I believed in him when everybody else already believed in him and had believed in him for a long time.
I believed in him when you told me you should come and see this guy, and I did. And I'm like, that was pretty good.
Yeah, nice.
So I was even like a step removed from that.
That's true.
Yeah. But I also think they did justice to the Mandarin, and I'm interested to know what you think of that because as someone who was a fan of Iron Man growing up and what we've gotten of him in the movies, how did you feel about that? I mean, there's a lot of like, we're sorry for that thing that we already did.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a bit of like, because he explains it, he's like, they took my name and they used me in another movie, but it wasn't really me.
Yeah. It's definitely a better iteration of that character. It's interesting, though, that sort of in the comic books, he is kind of pure evil.
Yeah.
And
he's a dad in this, isn't he? He's
that's
he's
true.
a dad.
It can't be pure evil if you're a dad. It's true. But I think it's a much better application of that character.
Yeah.
Obviously, they had to change his weapons. The 10 rings aren't the 10 rings in the comic books
They don't
anymore
do
because
things.
they'd just be they'd just be Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet again.
Yeah.
So,
but I love that design of like the rings over the forearms and you can
Bangles.
Bangles,
Please.
thank you. But and there's also the thinking that like maybe they do belong to a dragon because they're enormous.
They're dragon size,
but they don't do different things and like shoot fire and ice and whatever. But no, I think that's a really cool kind of like method of combat. You can kind of swing them around and blast
yeah, I like
them
that,
and whatever.
and you could use them as kind of that's what I like. He's had 1,000 years to practice with these, so he can use them to like blast himself into the air. Or use them in martial arts, or he can throw some at some enemies and then use the others as a shield or what have you. Like I think that's I enjoyed. It's probably not what I expected. In 2008 when we saw the 10 rings in Iron Man.
No, they were never going to do that then. Yeah,
it was good. It's a shame that It's a shame that his soul was sucked out of his body and he's dead now. But
maybe he can come back as a soulless
he'll
whatever.
probably come back as a soulless whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few people that get their soul sucked out, but we also see the Trevor Slattery Mandarin.
Yes.
I maybe think they probably dragged him along for a bit too long.
Yeah,
because he becomes a major.
Yeah.
Not a major.
If
but,
I had one criticism of this movie,
Yeah.
and I do, and here it comes, get ready.
Yeah.
It's that it was nice to see Trevor Slattery, but yes, he's probably in this too much. And also, but I guess you got.
It's not like Elton John in Kingsman 2 cameo. Bad,
No, that's true.
You know?
Yeah, and
he's good. Like he's good and fun.
If you get Ben Kingsley, Sir Ben Kingsley, I guess you're going to use him. But also, it seemed very odd to me that he just had a MacGuffin, not a MacGuffin. He just had a plot. He had a plot move along device with him, which is that weird furry turkey winged thing with no face that just happens to know how to
get to
get to the magic
And
forest.
he understands it also.
He understands it also. Like that was super convenient.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, straight. But still, he's fun, you know. And I liked his explanation for like how he got there and whatever. And this is it's like that Ben Stiller Tropic Thunder thing where they make him like do shows for them and whatever. He's like, he's a court jester essentially. And you know, it ties into things like the that one shot, like All Hail the King.
Yeah.
Like what I like about Marvel is they'll just go, yeah, we'll reference a one shot.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? No, you don't have to know that, but if you do know, then it's cool. There's a big dragon in this because the Mandarin.
Well, a big dragon. Two big dragons. I guess one's a traditional dragon.
Yeah, and one's a big goblin dragon.
It's interesting because if we'll talk post credits sequence.
Yeah.
But the idea of these 10 rings are in the post credit sequence. The reveal is that these rings when Shang-Chi wears them, when he puts them on for the first time, they project some sort of signal to somewhere we don't know to whom or where specifically.
Could be a Fing Fang Foom, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. But if it is, because traditionally, for people who don't know, the rings of power that the Mandarin wears in the comic books are from an ancient race of alien dragons. One of the most famous of which is called the McLuhans.
Yeah.
McLuhans.
He's an influencer.
He's an influencer. So, but the most famous of which is Fin Fang Foom, who's a big green dragon with purple underpants, who sometimes shows up seriously, sometimes she shows up as a joke. He did show up in a Iron Man movie spin-off comic called Viva Las Vegas.
Did he really?
Where movie Iron Man battles Fin Fang Foom. It was written by John Favreau.
Really?
It was never finished though.
That's interesting.
It was they released 2 out of the 4 issues.
I didn't know that.
And it's art by Adi Granov, who did like the original Iron Man design.
Yeah, okay.
Like that sort of very nice painted.
None
work.
of none of those comics mean anything. There's a Nebula Guardian spin-off where she loses her arm a different way and whatever. Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that we can't really do the reveal. I feel like it's probably kind of a testing the waters. Who will the next big bad be?
Yeah, right.
Are we sending a signal to a villain or a hero, what have you? But I don't think it can be a dragon because we've just seen a dragon. Like it'd be odd if
a different dragon.
It'd be odd if a different dragon shows up and we go, oh, you mean like the dragon from earlier?
I guess, it might tie into the Eternals that there is this bigger cosmic threat, but that's more of like an Eternals conversation talking point that I might take some issue with, I guess, when we get into it. But no, so the Mandarin is there's a big ugly dragon.
He's a family man.
Yeah, that's true. He's a family man. We don't often see that in movies.
That's true.
Where it's behind a big wall and telling him that his wife's behind a big wall and and Michelle Yeoh's like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Michelle Yeoh's in this. She's great.
Can you show you there, my beautiful wife? You there? Can you show me? Oh, I can't. No, I don't have my makeup on.
So as he's punching
show you myself.
As he's punching the big wall, like horrible critters crawl out, and he's like, I'm just gonna keep punching this big wall. I reckon.
That's right.
Strange.
Well, he's blinded by love or something.
He's blinded by love,
and he's really old.
And he's very old. He might have that mad weary thing. We'll get into it.
Have mad weary. God, these days everyone who doesn't have mad weary. You know what I mean?
You're not wrong.
God.
So, but I did like how I also think it's a good idea to give Shang-Chi an additional power because he ends up taking the rings from his father, or he gives them over, I guess, in the end. Because I think you kind of need that in this universe at this point.
Yeah, I guess that's probably true.
Yeah.
And I guess he could also go, we could have, scenes where he's, if we're going to do a sequel to this, and I imagine they will be at some point, we could do scenes where he doesn't have the rings. Like maybe he's given them to S.H.I.E.L.D. or to Bruce Banner to
look at.
And he doesn't, and he has to do it standard style. But also, I think, there is, as we've seen, there's a lot of fun applications for those rings, and that makes an exciting fight sequence. So.
Coasters. Oh, no, the couple just go in the middle.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. Maybe not a coaster.
No.
Yeah. You could punch someone with them.
Yeah. Or you know what you could have? You could have a few rings just floating there, and on top of them, bucket of Coronas.
That's a great idea. Could you do that thing maybe where you've got 2 rings and you clink them together, then they're linked? Do they do that?
They could.
I don't know
if you believe in yourself.
I don't know if they can do that.
If you believe in yourself.
Yeah, that's probably right. Let's talk about the post credits. There's a couple of them.
Okay.
One of them being that his sister is taking on the role of she's going to take over the Ten Rings.
Yes.
She's like, I'm going to dismantle this organization or
But
whatever.
also fight clubs, and also I'm not going to dismantle it.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's in line with the comics. I think, isn't she maybe getting a spin-off show or something?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of spin-off shows, I meant to mention this in news. The Black Panther spin-off show is going to be animated.
Oh,
Yeah, so there you go.
nice.
Oh, and Shuri is only going to be the Black Panther for one movie.
Okay.
And then because she didn't want to move on. Anyway, there's some news for you,
There's some
everybody.
news. There's some news you can use.
I forgot to put that in the news. So there's that. There's that crime element. But the other post-credit scene is it's a different situation, isn't it, Mason?
Yes.
It's Captain Marvel
Yeah, the analysis of all the rings, yes.
and Bruce
Banner,
Banner.
who's human again.
And he's human again. Oh, yeah. He is human. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Shit, that didn't even occur to me. Huh.
Yeah.
What
so
happened?
I don't know. Maybe he can switch at will at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe his gamma radiation wore off. Maybe
Maybe he's back to regular Mean Hulk or whatever. Because if
Yeah.
they are doing World War Hulk, maybe it's...
he has to be Mean Hulk again. That's
something-
true.
oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. I didn't even...
Yeah.
It didn't
Maybe
occur
the
to me at all.
snap drained all his Hulk juice.
Well, he's still got the arm in the
That's
whatever.
true. Yeah.
Which is
It's been
interesting.
ages.
It's been ages.
Get over it, mate.
Anyway, there's a signal in the universe and whatever.
Yeah.
There always seems to be a signal in the universe, though.
Yeah.
Maybe they need a big ear so they can listen. A big ear and a big eye.
Wow.
Just keep a lookout and a
Maybe
listen.
you could be in the bloody Marvel universe. Big,
Oh,
big
come on,
ears.
mate. Come on, mate.
Big ears.
Come on, mate.
Cheers, big ears.
Come on, mate. You don't need to be like that. Come on, mate. You know I'm sensitive.
Oh. It's fun to call somebody big ears. It's fun.
But all in
In
all,
these PC days, James, it's
you can't really say anything.
But you can say you can call somebody big ears.
I hope you
think,
get cancelled. I hope in 10 years you get cancelled for
for
that.
calling somebody big ears. Yep.
Look, if you haven't seen it, which you probably have, it's well worth a look, I
Yeah,
think.
and it'll be,
Of the Marvel movies I've
Yeah.
seen this year, this is the best.
and in a week it'll be on a
Disney
weekish.
Plus.
It'll be on Disney Plus
For free.
For free. It's free.
It's free.
It's a free movie.
You just got to look at it
Yep.
for free.
That's their slogan now. You just gotta look Disney Plus. You just gotta look at it.
So that's fun. Okay, here we go. 2 Marvel movies in a week.
My goodness.
My goodness. So we're going to talk about the Eternals now on a $200 million budget. And I'll tell you bloody what, with a lot of these movies, you can see every dollar on screen, Mason. I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah.
It's going to have they reckon, a US box office opening of around $75 million. We are recording this before the Monday, obviously,
that's
and
true.
the Sunday even.
Yeah.
So, that could go a different direction.
But if it does go a different direction, we'll tell you about
Yes.
it. But not on this episode because we don't know yet.
No,
Maybe
no, we
next
don't know.
episode. Yeah.
So they got-
someone remind us.
Please
Yeah.
send us a tweet mail, and then 150 million worldwide. I think what might work against this is, first of all, the low review scores, and it's getting kind of there are positive, there is positive
Yeah.
word of mouth, but it's not like Shang Chi. I feel like got like a big kind of push.
I
And
feel
people
this
really
has
enjoyed
positive word of mouth, but with some caveats.
Sure.
I haven't seen a very positive thing that isn't like, I liked it, but...
it. Well, I like when you tell us what the story was.
Oh, nice. Okay, so the guys, these immortals, right?
Yep.
They're from a crazy planet from other side of the universe, probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
And they're on Earth, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna help humanity realize their full potential. We're gonna get rid of these deviants. Look at these monsters that are coming out of the humans. We don't get out of here, deviants. I
Yeah.
don't like it. You get out of here. We'll zap you. You can't do zaps. We'll do zaps. We'll zap you.
Some of us can zap.
Zap. Get out of here. But then they get rid of all the deviants. But they're like, we should go home. But our bosses are like, we're Celestials. We'll tell you when you can go home, but not yet.
You're not going anywhere.
But so
You're on the clock.
So we'll just hang out on Earth for a bit. But then deviants come back. How they come back, well, we'll never tell.
We'll tell in spoilers.
We'll tell you spoilers how they come back. We'll
Yeah.
never tell.
And then there's just and the events kick off from there. So at the moment, as of recording this, it's got the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score of a MCU movie at 54%.
That's pretty low.
I think it's better than. I don't think it's the worst one. And I was going in kind of being like, is this Inhumans? Are we going to get Inhumans with a bigger budget? And it's not that bad, but I can't say that I liked some of this, but there's a lot of it I'm like, ugh.
I went into this, I'm like, people are crazy. Because, often I saw tweets to the effect of like, if everybody says the Marvel movies are too formulaic, but when you stray from the formula, they also say it's bad. So, what, you guys are never happy. And I'm like, I went in this being like, you know what, if it's good, if it goes straight from the formula,
Yeah, great.
sounds good. I'm very excited to see that. Let me tell you this, doesn't really. Doesn't stray from the formula. People like.
Well, I mean, it looks different.
It looks different. It looks. I mean, and there's some beautiful vistas.
Sure.
There's some beautiful shots of Earth
And farmland.
just farmland and ancient cities. They're looking good, but like people are like, oh, this is different from the formula. It's not though, is it?
It's a similar.
It's
There's your betrayals and your whatever.
there's a threat emerges and a team got to get together and they're friends, but maybe they don't always get along.
Sure.
And then they fight and there's zaps.
Yeah.
Shooting zaps and lasers and that's pretty much the movie. It is the Marvel formula.
Yeah, except it's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
And it feels longer. And I think it's just a very dull expression of the Marvel formula.
Well,
and I don't think, and I'm going to say this from the outset, I don't think this is a very good movie.
Nothing
Sorry,
wrong with that.
everyone. But look, I think we do have listeners who they might listen to this and then they might go into this and perhaps not enjoy it as much as they could.
Yeah.
So I would say if you want to go into this,
You should.
yeah, you should go in. You should watch the movie. But if you're like, I'm going to go into this and I want to enjoy it, maybe don't listen to this. If you think you might be unduly influenced by me, us or me specifically, I think.
Yeah.
Don't listen to this at all. I think.
What I think was interesting about like a lot of the build up to this was like it's this huge cosmic event and it spans thousands of years and whatever, but it doesn't feel very cosmic. It feels small a lot of the time. Did you get that sense?
Yeah. So if you've seen the trailer, there's a moment where Kit Harington's character Dane he asks Cersei, Gemma Chan's character, why couldn't you stop Thanos or whatever?
Yeah. He does say Thanos or something
Says
like
Thanos, yes. Why couldn't Thanos? Why couldn't you do it? And she says, "Oh, we weren't allowed. They didn't let us." And he's like, "Who wouldn't let you?" And then it goes, and then you see one of the Celestial thing. It's Arisham the judge, and it's like,
it's got a big horn,
and he's huge, and he's he's floating. He's this enigmatic figure floating out in space.
Yeah.
That's as cosmic as this movie gets.
pretty much. Yeah.
There's a couple
there's some like there's a spaceship and whatever.
There's some fleeting like glimpses at more cosmic stuff.
Yeah.
But that's really it. 99% of this movie takes place, like you said, in a field or in a desert
or a
in
beach.
a forest or the beach. Like it's just Earth stuff.
And it looks good.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Good shots.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I also think in terms of the team, I did like some of them I liked, some of them I was like fairly indifferent to. I like Druig, I like Gilgamesh, I like Makari, I like Fastus.
Yep.
I mean, Kumail Nanjiani's there for the
comedic
benefit, and I think Gemma Chan is a good lead. But I think also they seem really like stupid and petty and blank and confused for beings who have been on Earth for 7,000 years.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get the sense of time or weight or age or experience from them, and I guess that could be like a callback to like the Greek gods of old who are just like banging each other and just being buffoons.
But I don't think that. So this movie, like plot wise, it draws elements from like the original Eternals, like the Kirby Eternals. It draws stuff from like the Neil Gaiman Eternals, and there's a big plot element that isn't from either of those. It's from Earth X, which is a sort of late 90s. It's that Alex Ross limited series.
Yeah.
Which is set in a sort of an alternate future of
which
the Marvel
we can't
universe.
spoil here, I guess.
No, that'll be in spoilers. A lot of this is going to be in spoilers, I think. But I feel like these characters don't reflect any version of that. They're just, and I think it's because nobody wants a bunch of characters in a Marvel movie, or the people creating this stuff. They don't want them to be like aloof, unknowable space demigods that you can't comprehend or understand. So they have to be kind of regular people.
Yeah.
Because that's what they like in a lot of versions of the comics. They're just there and they're making big, bold proclamations and they've
got big costumes on.
Standing in the edge of space. And like I kind of wish like maybe Cersei would be the point of view character.
Yeah.
And she is, for whatever reason we'll get to, is more human than the other ones.
Yeah.
But the others are all like that. And then Dane Whitman's like, I would like to meet your family. And she's like,
No, they're
okay.
weird.
And then they go in a room and then one guy's like, the cosmic hourglass has been upturned. Humanity's end is nigh or whatever. And he's like, Jiminy Christmas, I'm Kit Harington or whatever.
I agree. I think there is
They're just there and they're
they
regular.
just seem they could have been born in the 80s.
Yeah,
you know?
they're just normal and they do quips and they chat and they have arguments or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the again, a lot of the tweets that I saw before going into this were like, there's too much character development. And I don't think there is. I think
don't know about that.
there's too many characters to develop.
Yeah.
And I think there's not enough time. I reckon maybe like 3 of them got a decent amount of development. I think Cersei does.
Yep.
I think Kingo is really interesting in the sense that it shows a character who, if you're on Earth for thousands of years, what do you do? What would you do? And if you're a certain character, like what would you get up to? And I don't think it's a spoiler because this is in the trailer.
Yeah.
He decides to be a sort of
Bollywood boy.
He's sort of a one-man dynasty.
Yes.
Like he keeps pretending to be his own son.
Yes.
And then maybe like Fastos has some development, but the rest are just like different varieties of stoic sad sack.
There is a lot of crying in this. They look at each other and they cry about humanity and each other or whatever.
So here's something I'll tell you for free, James. I'll tell you this for free, but the next
I
thing's
love
gonna
how
cost
it's
you.
for free.
So
I had a crisp $100 bill, but I'll just hang on to this, I reckon.
oh, next time you're gonna pay up next time. I'm pretty sure.
First one's always free.
Yeah, that's right. So Fidel, who's one of the admins over at the Planet Broadcasting
Yes.
Great Mates Facebook group, where you can have fun, friendly chats about pop culture and podcasts and all kinds of stuff.
Don't be rude.
Don't do it. Whenever there's a big movie release or a TV release or something like that, he'll put up a spoiler discussion thread, and he will regularly sort of go the extra mile, and he'll put up a fun Photoshop, something relating to the podcast or the group or something like that. And for Eternals, what he did is he put up the 10 main characters of the Eternals.
Yep.
That character should, like, they're all standing in a line together, and he photoshopped your face on Icarus.
Yes.
And he photoshopped my face on a character I could not place. And I looked at the lineup and I went, come on, you can do this.
Through elimination, you can do this.
Through process of elimination, I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to look it up. I'm not going to look at the fun character cards they gave us when we went into the movie. I'm going to figure out who I'm supposed to be from this movie I just saw mere hours ago.
Could you tell by the color of the costume?
No. No. And so I looked at it and I'm like, and I went and I'm like, surely there's, and after about 4 minutes I went, oh, Druig.
Oh yeah, I like Druig.
But I'm like, he's in, all these characters are in the movie, but they get, like, realistically, a lot of them get maybe 20 minutes of active participation in the movie, I think.
Yeah.
They're just, otherwise they're just in the background.
It's a lot for when you haven't, like, say, like Endgame or Infinity War. It's a lot when you haven't had 12 movies.
Yeah,
leading up to
there's
this.
10 main characters. There's 10 characters.
There was supposed to be more as well.
all who are ostensibly a main character.
Yeah. I mean, some are more main than others, but yes.
Yeah, and I'm not including Kit Harington as...
I was going to say, were you Sprite? You weren't Sprite.
I wasn't Sprite. I was Druig.
Yeah.
They're all ostensibly the main character. We're not even including Dane Whitman as Kit Harington as Dane Whitman.
If you're expecting some Kit
barely in
Harington
it
stuff.
I initially went into this and I'm like, oh, he's in a relationship with Cersei. This could be a fun reverse Superman, Lois Lane situation. Like, she's got
Wonder Woman and
absolutely that could work. But then that just sort of gets brushed by the wayside, and then it's just, again, sad stoic people.
Or bickering.
Yeah, or bickering. The main characters do not include the villains, the deviants, who have no character development to speak of.
Well, one sort of does.
Yeah, which I think, again, it's that goes into spoilers.
I don't feel like enough. Anyway, we'll get into that.
That will get into spoilers.
I got to say though, I did like the gold line effect and and the thing on everything, and what I really liked in terms of how things look. That super speed running. She's kind of like leaping over things and it's kind of like dust getting kicked up, and it's not in slow-mo, it's like in real time. Yeah. But we only get like that for a fraction. I'm like, I want to see some interesting super speed stuff with
barely,
this.
And she's barely in this movie. I think you could, and again, so for people who are not familiar with the Eternals, in the comic books, they all have the same powers. They all have this vast swath of powers. They're fast and strong. They can fly. They're immortal. They can shoot lasers. They can shapeshift, telepathy, illusions. They've all got it, but like by inclination or practice, like they're all the best at one of them. Yeah. But they can all do the stuff. And I think that would be way more interesting than this, where they've all just basically got one power. Yeah. And think
they're pretty strong.
And I think you could... Again, I think, and it's a shame because again, all the actors I think are very charismatic, and there's obviously a reason they've all been cast in this. But I think just in terms of runtime and introducing characters and having room for everybody in the plot, you could have removed, I reckon, probably 4 of them, or combined a bunch together, and it wouldn't have made a difference. I think you could have completely gotten rid of Druig and
I liked
Makari.
Druig.
I think you get rid of them. I think you.
I thought they had the most interesting like powers though. Maybe they just didn't.
you could, but you
Could
could
do enough with them.
Exactly,
You know?
and I think you probably could have combined Ajak and Thena, and it wouldn't have made any difference.
Hey, Ajak is
Salma
the
Hayek.
one. Yep.
Yeah, and I think you probably could have combined Fastos and Gilgamesh.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
And you just because like, and again, well, those combinations I think. We have to talk about in spoilers, but I think plot-wise, it would streamline a lot of stuff. There's a moment in this where, like, one of the characters is like, "Oh, this has happened, and how do I do this? I can't do this power." And somebody's like, "Have you considered doing the power, believing in yourself and doing the power?" And she's like, "Oh, I can do it.
Maybe I will do
Maybe
that."
I'll do it now." Cut it out. It's too long. You don't need it.
What about how did you? I love it when they work in dumb names of things from the comics. And as we mentioned in Shang Chi, there's an affliction which can affect some Eternals.
Yes.
Where their memories kind of get messed up, and they've been around for so long that they can get confused about kind of where they are and who their enemies are. It's called Mad Weary.
Yeah, I got the Mad Weary. We've all got the Mad Weary there. That's relatable, I think.
It certainly is.
It's if you look it up in the comics, it's spelt with a bunch of apostrophes.
Yeah, it does not like
but
that. Yeah.
It's said Mad Weary. Like this dude's
Yeah.
Mad Weary.
Yeah, and I think also some of the costumes for me also looked better than others. Like, did look like otherworldly and interesting armor and kind of sleek and streamlined. And then you get like an up close look at like Icarus, and he's just like, it's clearly just a spandex with like shoulder pads on it.
Yeah,
and it's like you don't want to like I can see like it looks like a Spider-Man costume that you've dyed blue. Do you know what I mean? From you got off eBay.
So there's the costumes with Kim Barrett. She did some of the costumes for The Matrix and other stuff. I really like their civilian outfits. I'll give them a point for that.
That's good stuff.
I thought Kingo has like a embroidered K, like a bomber jacket, and
there's a cowboy hat.
Yeah, Icarus is like he's cool and casual.
Yeah.
Gilgamesh is kind of like 19th century railroad worker.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I like the fact that some of them are sort of stuck in the eras that they loved.
Yeah,
I guess.
absolutely.
I don't know.
Yeah. Also, the dude didn't invent the atomic bomb or whatever. There's a scene where he's like, "Oh no," because one of them.
Yes.
I want to say
Fastos.
Sorry. He
the inventor. He's got the inventor powers.
He does the inventing things, and he blames himself for the atomic bomb because he's like, "What are we even doing? There's atomic bombs. I shouldn't have done anything. I should have invented a train, and then I should have shut up about it or whatever."
Yeah.
And there was a criticism that, like, I can't believe they just put the atomic bomb on this guy or whatever.
Yeah,
but it's not real. I mean, is that really what it is? Like,
no, I
don't think he was directly responsible for it.
I think he's the idea being that, oh, okay, well, I gave them the tools to invent
And they
simple
got round-
machinery, and they
got
went
round
too
to
far.
this.
Yeah, if only I'd left them with nothing, and they were farmers or
Yeah.
whatever, then they wouldn't have done this. I guess is the.
I know that you love how
we go.
Kumail Nanjiani got ripped for no reason. I know you
No reason. He never takes his shirt off. You see his arms.
You see his arms, but yeah, you're right. He doesn't have a shirtless scene. And there's also their bodies don't change. They're like they start a certain way and they stay that way.
Mm-hmm.
Which so the one who looks like a child never grows out of that, and there's a reason for that, which we will get into. But what did you think of like the DC references in this? Like Icarus gets called Superman. They're talking about Batman in this movie.
I think that's just a function of.
Batman comics exist in this universe.
Exactly. Yeah. I am I'm always a fan of the idea that in either of the big two's comic book universes, the other heroes are fictional. In that universe,
unless they combine,
unless they meet.
Yeah. And I think it felt a bit like the Avengers references and that were kind of like slapped on. It's like at one point, Kumail Nanjiani's like, "I knew Thor when he was a little boy, and now he doesn't return my calls or whatever." It's like, okay, all right, good. Great stuff. I think the deviant design is interesting, but maybe they don't do enough of that. We'll talk about it. But as monsters, they're interesting. They're kind of
just
like
fine.
Oh, really? I liked them.
I think if you saw these characters in like a Pitch Black style horror movie, like a space horror movie, I'd be like, that's pretty good.
But some are different. Some have a wing. Some have wings.
Yeah.
And Celestials look great.
Yeah,
big
definitely.
Stone things and whatever. Let's do spoilers.
Okay. Look, you know what? Okay, how about this? Just before we spoil it. Okay, here's the action sequence in this movie. Yep. Like we talked about Shang-Chi just a minute ago. Maybe I don't love it all the way through, but as soon as that comes on stream, I'm going to watch the fight on the bus. Yeah. Because I'm like, this is great and memorable and fun. What's great and memorable? Like, what's a great action sequence in this one? I can't think of one.
What about where one guy has gun hands?
Yeah.
One guy has big fist hands.
Here's a thought I had about
What
this.
about that, Mason?
Yeah, that's really good. It's really good. There's nothing in this, like the action sequences and the characters' powers, there's nothing we haven't seen in a previous Marvel movie.
Or a superhero movie.
Or any superhero movie, really, that hasn't been done better. Like super speed, illusions, shooting lasers out of your hand.
I think super speed isn't like that brief glimpse of that thing would have been
Okay,
interesting.
that's fair.
But
But I wonder about you know how sometimes you play a video game and your character starts out quite weak, and then your character gains in power, but then the villains gain in power also.
Yeah.
So for a second you seem really powerful, but then you're like, I'm just grinding away.
This guy's got a shield.
Yeah, exactly, right? I wonder if the Eternals in this are meant to be like vastly more powerful than all the other heroes we've seen before, but because the Deviants are also vastly more powerful, it just looks quite pedestrian.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But like, because there's no
we don't really know because you don't see them fight like
regular people.
or like Iron Man or or Abomination or whatever. So you don't know where they're kind of at.
Where it is, like if there was a scene where like, you know, Thanos shows up earlier in time and he's like, maybe I'll take over Earth today, and then, you know, in the distant past, and then Icarus just punches him, you know, and he's like, these guys are too powerful. I don't care. But it just looks like they're just having difficulty fighting these alien wolf creatures. Yeah. And they're just shooting lasers.
Some are a bird.
Some are a bird also, that's true.
Spoilers? Oh, you want to...
But, well, I mean, there's nothing... So here's a thought that I had. We saw this a couple of days ago, and I've had a number of thoughts. So in Infinity War...
I've seen it.
We've all seen it. It's made $1 billion trillion. In Infinity War, Thor needs a new weapon.
Yeah.
So he goes to a cosmic forge that is built around a star.
Correct.
Staffed by like a giant little person with no hands.
Yes.
And those two and Groot, like they're involved in this crazy action sequence where they've got to use the power of the sun to build this axe, and Thor nearly dies because he's got to refocus the lens that builds
because he wants to hit Thanos in the head.
Exactly. And he gets caught in the brunt of the sun to build this thing. And it's just to get an axe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a cool scene, and it's cool and cosmic in a way that Marvel is.
Yeah. Every time they introduce a new element in that storyline, it is something new. It's like, oh, shit, Peter Dinklage, big Peter Dinklage or whatever.
It's new and it's huge. And like, the Russo brothers didn't have to go so hard for that. They could have just been like, there's a one piece of Asgard left, and it's in this box. It's an axe. It's your father's axe. It's Odin's axe. You take the axe. You're holding the axe now. Good. Now you can go and fight with it, whatever. But they didn't. They were like, let's make a big thing.
Yeah.
And just, but there's not, like, that's Marvel cosmic to me.
Well, there's a communication device in this that you need to communicate with the Celestials. Mm-hmm. And it's just like one character loses it and the other one just has it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like a passing of...
But it's like, that's what I want, like... These enormous superstructures and like this huge, like hammers of gods.
Well, this is what I mean in terms of like
treadmills and all this sort of
stuff. It's not cosmic like at all.
No, it's not. It's kind of pedestrian, like.
Yeah, but I guess it's supposed to tell a human story and whatever. And again, it's going into a movie expecting something, and you get like a different thing. But I think you're right in terms of like what we're getting isn't unique. And some people are saying like, oh, well, this should win Oscars or whatever. And I'm like, I don't think so.
I think it will.
Well, I don't think it should.
We wouldn't. No. All right. Look, I hate to say it, but honestly, worst movie ever for me.
Look, I don't think it's worst movie ever for me. I thought it was, and I know I say this a lot, but it was fine.
Okay, great.
And some of it I liked and some of it I didn't. And that's just where it's at.
Yeah.
And I'll probably never watch it again.
Yeah, right? Because again, like I said, there's no scene where you go, oh my God, remember when they all teamed up and did this or whatever. It's like, nah. Or like, you know, there's, you know, one of them was fighting a deviant and then they used the creative use of their powers and it was fun or whatever.
Yeah. It's really one of them flies around shooting laser eyes and the rest of them kind of scrap on the ground.
Yeah.
Anyways, spoilers. The Earth's a big eggy. It's an egg.
Yeah, so that's from Earth X. That's so the deal is
it's an egg, Mason.
It's an egg. So the Eternals think that they've been sent to Earth because they have to foster the development of humanity.
Yep.
But these creatures called the Deviants have arrived on Earth somehow. And the Eternals have to defeat the Deviants, get rid of all the Deviants so that humanity can grow as people. Yeah. But the thing of it is, how Celestials reproduce is they drop a seed into a planet, and then once and it feeds on sentient energy, I guess, the energy of sentient beings. So once a world's population reaches a certain level, it
can grow and
the deviant
bust out.
The deviant busts out of the planet and kills everybody on the planet.
Yep.
And so,
which also, speak like Cersei, she was doing that with Unicron in a different movie.
That's true, yeah, and it's very true. So. what happens is, so the Celestials realize that humans are being killed by regular predators on Earth. So they create the deviants to send them to Earth to destroy the predators. But then the deviants evolve, and once they've destroyed all the predators, they start eating humans as well, and that won't do for the Celestials.
Yeah.
So they create the Eternals, who had been designed so they can't evolve.
This has also happened. Why do they say can't evolve? Because they can, clearly.
They evolve emotionally.
Yeah.
Like, again, it seems the Celestials are just bad at creating life.
Yeah.
Like,
what are you doing?
And also, if they feed on sentient energy, just make a bunch of Eternals. Put them on a planet.
No, but you can only
quicker.
You can only make 10 at a time or whatever.
Oh, okay, right.
Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, they're also said they're robots. They're not,
or they're synthetic beings.
Yeah, they're kind of like Vision-esque creatures.
Yeah.
Like they're not.
In the comics, there was a race that was similar to humans, and then they were experimented on, and we got humans, we got deviants, and we got Eternals.
And Thanos is an Eternal, isn't he?
He's a Titanian Eternal. Yeah. So at one point, some of the Eternals went off Earth and they went to the moon of Titan, and etc. But it's
it's not that.
It's neither here nor there. But yeah, so what happens is the Celestials send a team of Eternals to the various planets, and they tell one of them, the one that's got the leadership sphere, that the end result of this is going to be the death of everybody on the planet. They tell one of the Eternals this. Exactly why, right? You wouldn't.
No.
You wouldn't go, hey, we're going to send you to this planet and we want you to nurture these people and we want you to get amongst them.
And live among them.
Live among them and learn with them and teach them and get emotionally involved. And then they're going to die.
Yeah.
Like, and you're the only people who are going to live.
And then when they die, you get a memory wipe and then you do it on another planet, which is why Angelina Jolie's character, who's in this movie, by the way, has mad weary because she's getting confused because her memory's from different planets. She didn't get rebooted properly. So they're robots or something.
They think they're thousands of years old, but they might all be millions of years old. It's tough to say. But yeah, like you either wouldn't give them you would either, and again,
how do you not hard reboot these guys?
It's weird to nitpick, and I guess the idea is, well, the Celestials are unknowable. But if we are nitpicking this sort of thing, and we are, you'd either make the Eternals like just be aloof and in space and be like, just zap the deviants and leave.
Yeah.
Or
you could do it because you can summon them into space.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you do exactly? Yeah. Or you could be like, don't tell them.
Yeah.
You give them the sphere, and if they've been doing this for me, how often has this happened? Like, sure, this cannot be the first time that you've sent a bunch of Eternals to a planet and they've gone, actually, we don't want everybody on this planet to die.
Yeah.
And so the Celestials' plan is bad, but also Icarus's plan is bad.
Because Icarus is on board with this.
Yeah. Ajax is like, I think I've changed my mind about this and I don't want...
Yeah.
The destruction, the return of all the humans on Earth after the snap has caused this emergence to happen early, and I'm not on board with it. I don't like the idea of everybody on Earth being destroyed, so I'm going to figure out how to stop it. But Icarus is like, no, actually, I think we should be loyal to the Celestials, and I'm
this for the long haul. And it's also because it's revealed also that the Deviants didn't all die and they've been frozen in ice.
Yeah.
But I thought the reveal was going to be that the Celestials realized that the Eternals might stop the emergence, and so sent more down.
Yeah.
But it's just a coincidence that they happen to be unfrozen at this exact point in time when the big egg is going to break.
Yeah. So Ajax tells Icarus the reveal that she's known for millions of years, I guess.
And he told her like a long time. She told him
like hundreds of years ago, which is why he left
Cersei.
He left Cersei. The sex scene's bad, by the way.
It's not anything.
They're not even moving. I don't understand. To the best of my knowledge, movement is involved usually.
I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I mean, everybody's different.
That's true. That is true.
It's nothing, really.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's absolutely nothing.
Had they put in a gay kiss?
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's a step, isn't it?
It's a step. Besides one of the Russo brothers playing a man who has a husband. Yeah. So Icarus is like, okay, well, I'll kill Ajax.
Yep.
And then I'll just distract people for a week.
Yeah.
But surely, if you know the leadership thing exists, the leadership sphere. It's probably, and is there not a manual for this? Like, surely you would know that it's going to go to somebody else, and probably it's not going to go to you.
Yeah.
So you don't want it to go to anybody. So
dump it in a river.
Why would you kill? You would
dump her in a river.
No, you'd get her and you'd fly her into space.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's the only one who can fly.
Yeah.
Nobody could get her. And if she doesn't die, like maybe they don't die in space. I can't remember. But
No, they can't, yeah.
so you could throw her into orbit and then be like, I don't know, maybe the Deviant's got her. I don't know, whatever. And then maybe like start of the third act, she crashes back to Earth and she dies. And then the leadership sphere goes into Gemma
Matrix of
Chan.
leadership.
And then she's like, oh, I get it. There's the plan. Okay.
Yeah.
Because what happens in this is instead, it immediately goes to Gemma Chan. She's like, I can't operate the sphere of leadership. And somebody's like, well, have you considered believing in yourself? And she's like, I can operate the sphere of leadership. And now I know the plan's bad.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So also, why does Icarus actively help them find the rest of the team?
I guess
You just dick around.
I mean, because there's a really funny
I
line.
can't find them. I don't know where they are. Maybe
a-
they're in space.
Just to jump ahead a little bit, we'll
Yes.
come back. There's a really funny line where after the they turn the celestial to stone as it's coming out, and so it's just left jutting out of the
I
earth.
can't turn a celestial to stone.
Have you tried turning it into stone?
I've turned it into stone. I've done it.
They had a backup plan where Druig was going to put it to sleep, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. You do your
I
thing.
just wanted to quickly
Yeah.
say there's a really funny line where who's the dude with the atomic bomb guy? I can't remember which one.
Fastos.
Fastos is like, I always wondered how. So the idea is that when the planet is destroyed, the Eternals are protected by that, and they kind of ride the celestial out of there or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And he's like, I always wondered how we'd get off Earth when the planet was destroyed. And it's like, what do you mean? You just found out that the Earth was going to be destroyed. This is something did you know?
And also, you have a spaceship. You control the spaceship. I think maybe you invented it. So I don't know. You would have gotten off the planet on the spaceship, I would imagine.
Probably. But anyway, sorry, you were saying. Icarus is evil, something.
Oh yeah. So in this, the way they win is they create the Uni-Mind, which is they all go together.
It's from the comics.
And the plan initially is to combine their powers and then to make them all, collectively more powerful. And then Druig is going to use his mind control powers, a character I definitely remember. He's going to use his mind control powers to convince the Celestial in Earth to stay asleep.
Yes.
For a time, I guess. But then that doesn't work.
Yes, that
Or it's
doesn't
not
work.
going to work. So instead they go...
Or he doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do it or something like that. Or he doesn't think it's going to work or whatever. So then they just go with, okay, Cersei, who can't change the molecules of sentient beings, discovers she can change the molecules of sentient beings.
How did she do it?
They do the Uni-Mind and she believes in herself.
Yeah.
I kind of think that's because they didn't introduce the Uni-Mind at the start of the movie.
Yeah.
And so they had to do here's the fake out and here's the real solution.
Okay.
But I think the Uni-Mind should have been introduced at the start of
As
the
a
movie.
thing they could do?
As a thing they can always do.
Yeah.
And then they
do it.
But the thing also there's a moment in that where Fastos goes, okay, well I'm going to make these bracelets and we can create the Uni-Mind and it's going to remove our immortality or something. It's going to cut off our connection to cosmic power and we won't be immortal, but that's never touched on again.
Yeah.
So I think what they should have done is here's what they should have done in this multi-million-dollar blockbuster movie. They should have, at the start, they should have been like, we can do the Uni-Mind and whatever, and we can do it to communicate and blah, 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 and we can do it to do amazing things.
Yeah.
And at the end, they could go, I don't think the Uni-Mind is enough to defeat this thing, but maybe if we flip the Uni-Mind around and whatever, and we become mortal again, then we can do it, but there's a big risk we'll die.
Yeah, okay.
I think that would be more interesting, but it doesn't seem to... They can still use all their powers when they win the Uni-Mind. It doesn't...
And it seems like they're like, we can't stop Icarus. Icarus is more powerful than any...
Is he?
That doesn't seem that way.
It says it on the little card I got, but it doesn't... There's no
Oh, yeah,
evidence.
we got little cards.
We got little cards.
At one point, it's Fastus,
Yes.
who's the guy who invents things, is just like, I'm just going to invent some handcuffs.
Yeah.
And he just holds him for like 20 minutes?
Something like that, yeah. He's like...
And he's one guy.
Yeah, it's like we can't defeat Icarus. He's the most powerful, but there's no evidence of that.
Yeah.
He just has two powers. He can fly and shoot lasers out of his eyes. But there's no scene for scale.
Yeah.
There's no scene where there's 9 of them are having a great deal of difficulty fighting a thing, and then Icarus just flies in and destroys it because he's the most powerful.
Because he's always like, while they're fighting on the ground, he's tussling with one in the sky for a bit as well.
About the same amount of time, yeah.
And okay, so also on the topic of the deviants,
Yes.
the new ones that emerge, one of them can absorb their powers. And they're like, we've never seen anything like this before. How is this possible or whatever? Great question.
Isn't it though?
Could they all do it? Because this one, I guess it's maybe the first time that they'd killed an Eternal.
Yeah.
But this particular one is able to drain their powers, had like a very particular thing that it could do that none of the other ones could do. and could absorb their powers and then become sentient.
Yes.
And I thought, this is going to be interesting because maybe it's going to take away some of their powers and they're going to have to fight without or whatever, that thing you were talking about. But then it's like it becomes self-aware and it's like we're all being used and whatever. And then it's just murdered.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And I'm like, okay,
I thought it was interesting that there wasn't that's what I was talking about earlier when I said the deviants have no personality to speak of. It's because during the production of this movie they went, well, they're going to be revealed to be not the real bad guys. The real bad guys are going to be the Celestials and Icarus, I guess, to an extent.
I guess.
So we don't have to develop these characters as compelling in any way. But it's obvious though. But like
because they also got used, and that's also interesting.
That's
I think.
interesting, and I think if they teamed up at the end, or if they had personalities that we cared about, or something like that, I'd be like, okay, cool. But then Thena's just like, well, he killed Gilgamesh, so I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
I've killed him. Great. Angelina Jolie's in this, by the way.
She's in this movie.
She's in this movie, yeah.
And at the end, she's like, I think my brain's fine again at the end or something.
That's great.
That is great.
Let me think.
I think it's also very intentional that Sprite at the end, they went, by the way, I've got some residual energy left over from touching the whatever. And do you want me to make you human? And she's like, yeah, cool. Because like she's a kid in real life. So that means by the time the next movie rolls around, it would explain that.
A teenager or whatever.
Yeah, so I just thought, okay. Yeah,
well, in terms of like most of the characters are just different flavors of sad. She's obviously sad because she looks like a little girl and obviously she can't have a relationship with a normal person because, you know. But there's also a subplot where she's in love with Icarus.
Yeah.
And Icarus doesn't reciprocate that.
Because she looks like a child.
But the thing is, they're both, to their knowledge, 7,000 years old. So to be and aliens. So to be weird that he'd be like, you look like you're under 18 though, so I can't do anything about it.
I don't think that's something they'd want to do in a
No,
movie.
of course not. Of course not. So why the subplot is weird, I think.
Yeah, it is weird, yeah. And some of
he's just not into you,
a
Sprite,
lot of the time they seem to like flip on a dime as well. Like Sprite's like, I'm with Icarus, and I'm like, oh, this is a betrayal. She's gonna like betray him because she spent so much time with Cersei. Not really, she's just with him. And then at the end he's just like, yeah, I'll do the Unimind, whatever. Oh, by the way, I'm Icarus and I'm going to fly into the sun. Terrific.
Yeah.
He flew into the sun, he did the thing.
Yeah, he did.
He did the thing,
Yeah,
Mason.
no, he did it. It's true. Also, I was going to say with Sprite, like her illusion casting ability are not very good. Because it's like there's a scene right at the start of the movie. She lives with Cersei as like her, like I guess adopted child or whatever. It's a bit vague, but Dane Whitman's like, oh, fine, I guess. I'll take no explanation, I guess. But there's a scene of her in a pub, and she's sort of magicked herself to look like an adult woman, and then there's a dude who seems to be interested in it and goes to touch her hand, and he goes through her illusory hand. Yeah, and your powers aren't better than that. No, it's weird. Yeah, is she strong? Like you've had thousands of years. Yeah, you can't do an illusion to trick like one dude. You know? Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it is weird. Also, it's also weird. Yeah, but I mean, like, it doesn't. I understand that's just for the purpose. They make her go to school at the end. You're right. She's 7,000 years old. It's the Twilight syndrome. It's like, why would you be 100 years old and have to still go to school? Yeah, just say you're 19. Just say you've got a weird disease. Yeah. It makes you look young, but you're old. But like, if you were 17 in Twilight, just like if you look 17, just say you're 19. Yeah. Some people just do. Yeah. Oh, also, in terms of combining characters. Yeah. I think you could combine Ajax and Thena. Yeah. Into like either just make it Thena or just make it Ajax. It doesn't matter. And they're like her brain's malfunctioning or whatever? She's got the mad weary, which is why she can't be the leader anymore. Yeah. And maybe she doesn't understand why she's against what's happening. She's saying ominous things, but she doesn't know what's going on. Yeah. I also thought it was interesting how they're like, we're not allowed to step in for literally anything, but they do for like a lot. Yeah. And then and Kit Harington's like, why don't you step in for Thanos or whatever? And apparently, from the snap happening, that delayed the emergence. Yes. But so in that case, you should have stepped in. Yeah. Because that directly affects the thing. And the Celestials would have known that Thanos is going around the galaxy doing this thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then you'd be like, yeah, if this happens, just step up. Yeah, right. Like, what the fuck is happening? If potentially half the population of the universe is going to disappear, that would affect the emergence on every planet. Exactly, yeah. Right? That's what I'm talking about. And they didn't even aid in the, reversing that. Yeah, the final battle, they didn't show up for that. Yeah. I mean, they didn't exist then. Oh, yeah, because they're all 4 years old. Yeah. It seems. I've written here, I never thought I'd say this, but they should have added a dash of X-Men Origins Wolverine to this movie. What are you talking about? By that I mean, I think they should have presented the history of the world linearly at the start. I think they should have arrived on the planet.
Well, that's the best part of that movie.
Yeah,
so,
I think they should have arrived on the planet, and then we got like 10 minutes of like going all the way up to present day. We could have done, just because all that's like we could have the snippets of them arriving and defeating some deviants, and then like they show them how to make the bread, and then Cersei and Icarus do it, and then blah blah blah, and then we see a conversation between Ajax and Icarus, and he goes, "Oh, I got to go," and then he flies away or whatever, and then we see Cersei like abandoned, and then her life gets increasingly mundane.
Yep.
And then she meets Dane, the most mundane man there is.
Yeah.
And then she's
mundane.
then she's like, this is pretty cool. This is cool.
Yeah.
And then we could do like, she's settled into life, and this is pretty nice.
Yeah.
And then the deviants show up again. I think that.
She's like, oh no, the deviants
I think
have
that.
shown up again.
Did you find the flashbacks?
Kind of pointless.
Yeah.
I think because they're like, we split up, and it's like, why did we split up? Oh, we had a disagreement. Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah,
because you said that.
Yeah, I think it would have been.
I think you're right. They could have.
And I think maybe somebody will do this at some point. We'll just edit it in and like just go. We just have the team, and then the team sort of slowly fractures over the centuries and millennia, and then they all leave, and then it's just
gather around people wherever you roam.
Yeah, exactly. Do that. Save a bit of time.
I like how there's a big celestial just fucking jutting out of the earth.
Yeah, that's cool.
You have to deal with
that's
that.
the one thing that I enjoyed about this.
Cool.
I enjoyed some
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I did
fun
enjoy
jokes
about this.
Again, I did like the costuming.
Yep.
I liked how Fastos was like J. Crew Americana gay dad because he is.
That's what he is. I liked Kamal Nanjiani's little helper guy.
Yeah, he was
He's
fun.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a big egg, and I don't think that can be forgotten.
That's true.
But we should talk about the post credits.
Oh yeah.
So the first one we get is Harry Styles.
Yep.
Shows up as Eros, brother of Thanos.
Yes.
And he says, I'm here to show you where... because they all get kidnapped into space. Some of them get kidnapped.
Oh, yeah, so Gemma Chan... Is this in the post-credits? Gemma Chan is hanging out with Dane Whitman.
No, I think that's pre-post-credits.
Okay, well, Dane, they're hanging out in the park or whatever, and it's like, boy, it sure is nice to be here without any Celestials or Thanos. And Thanos, sorry. And then the Celestials like, Cersei, you did a bad thing.
And not only that, but I've deemed this planet worthy, but you're going to have to come with me, I'm afraid. Because he's a judge. I've got a video coming. But he's a judge, right? But I don't think he deemed anything worthy. He was just mad.
Yeah, in the comic books, what happens is the Celestials show up on a planet and they do some manipulation, some genetic stuff and some whatever, and they should come back millions of years later,
what's up.
And they go, "Is this worthy of the thing in my head? This imaginary thing? I'm a Better Homes and Gardens judge. I'm just going to see if this is up to scratch.
This is the block."
And then if it's not, I guess they destroy the planet or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess that the problem with that, and the reason that doesn't really work probably dramatically in this kind of movie,
because that wasn't his goal either.
Yeah. But also, and I think the reason they needed to stop the emergence as opposed to...
should have just swatted the planet.
Because what would happen is I think we'd get that sort of Jack Kirby Stanley like a monologue at the end where all the Celestials would just be floating and be like, well, look at the beauty of the earth and the mankind, all the wonders of the whatever, and we don't need...
We might get that in the next movie because he's like, I'm going to look at your memories and figure out whether this is whatever.
Exactly, yeah. But then post-credit sequence, we get Harry Styles as Eros and
Pip the Troll.
Patton Oswalt as the voice of Pip the Troll.
Horrible.
I didn't hate it, but you hated it.
Yeah.
I think they should have instead. Like I know we get Harry Styles because it's Harry Styles and everybody loves Harry Styles. He seems very charming, and I saw him in.
I saw that.
Was he in Dunkirk? He's in Dunkirk.
He wore a dress, and that makes me upset.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
That threatens my masculinity.
I like
this guy I don't know wore a dress.
You liked him in Dunkirk. But I think they should have gone with Dennis from Always Sunny in
Oh
Philadelphia.
my God, they absolutely should
Glenn
have.
Howerton.
Yeah.
Because first of all,
he was nearly Star-Lord.
Him and Patton Oswalt are both in AP Bio together, and I think that would be a good combo. That show that we always say we're going to watch.
And like Eros is supposed to be like this arrogant, like
he's arrogant,
Lothario.
And also his deal is Star Fox's whole deal is his eternal power is he can convince people to sleep with him.
He does
basically.
other things, but yes,
and he could use the Dennis system.
Yeah,
just being a gross creep. And again, obviously they have to go. He's so beautiful and charming or whatever.
Yeah, I get it. It's Harry Styles.
Get Glenn Howard.
Yeah.
God damn it!
Yeah.
What a waste.
Glenn Howard will show up at some point, I feel.
And the second post is that. Do we have any more about that?
No, that's about it.
I think it's weird that Makari was just hanging out in the spaceship.
Yeah,
like she's not in the movie for like 2 hours. And then she's just like, oh yeah, I was just on the spaceship. The spaceship was underground, but I was in it.
I was in a written box.
Yeah.
And anyway, Kit Harington's like, I'm going to use this sword.
Now, I have a question for that.
Sure.
When they go to the Eternal spaceship,
Yep.
Athena has a sword.
It's the Excalibur. She says,
Somebody says, is that the Black Blade?
the ebony blade, and she says, no, it's Excalibur.
she says,
and then
no,
they're-
it's Excalibur.
And they're
Okay,
like,
right.
didn't remember when King Arthur wanted to bloody, he was like, give me
Okay.
a bloody
So that
give me
is
this sexy baby.
right.
set.
So they're separate swords.
Yes.
So that wasn't. So I
That's
was-
so he's got his ancestral
Initially,
sword.
I thought that they were saying that the Black Blade and Excalibur were the same blade, but they're not.
I think he got the sword because Cersei gave him the ring, which was from his family, so he traced his lineage and he found it that way.
Okay.
I think. I don't know.
Yeah, so the final post-credit sequence is it's Kit Harington,
Yep.
who's been in this movie for 10 minutes.
Yep.
And he's like, I really wish I had something to do with this movie, but at least I'll have something to do in the next movie, probably.
Yep.
And he's in a big oak-paneled library or something, and he's like, oh, better open this box up. There's not a big spooky sword in it. And then he's like, oh, there's a big spooky sword. Jiminy Christmas. I'm Kit Harington in it. And then he looks at the sword, goes all wibbly wobbly. It's the
Yep.
Black Blade that will inevitably turn him into the Black Knight.
Yep.
And then there's a voice that's like, hey,
Don't do that.
don't do that. Now, is that Blade?
Oh my God, I would love it to be Blade. We
It's
don't
know.
know.
A voice says something. I
Yeah.
can't remember what it says, and I can't remember who. It's the thing about the voice was it sounded very, very.
It did, but I
familiar,
couldn't place it.
and I couldn't place
It'll
it.
probably be out by the time we
And I
we
don't
talk
think it's
about
too
this.
far to say that he sounded African American.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, it can't be it can't be nobody.
Could be nobody.
Could be nobody, but it sounded to me.
They might not have thought about it yet.
Yeah.
They might have. You know what it could be?
Yeah.
I think it might because there's a post-credits video Collins edited.
Okay.
It could be Merlin who forged the sword.
Okay.
Or helped forge the sword. Or it could be his uncle who was the previous Black Knight. He's like,
Yeah.
this fucked me up. You better not.
I mean, we'll know soon, but it sounded to me like Marshall Ali.
That'd be cool if it was Blade.
And because here's the thing. First of all,
Because he also has a blade.
he's in a room with a blade, and his name's Blade, and he's inexorably drawn two blades.
And he's English.
well, that's the thing. So in the comic
Well, he didn't
book,
sound English
in the
in this,
comic,
did he? I can't
no, he
remember.
didn't. But in the comic books, Blade is British,
Yeah.
which you can never tell because obviously you can't hear it on the page. But I think it'd be a fun nod if he's still American, because people would find it weird if he wasn't.
Yeah.
But in a little nod to his character, he's been in England for a while.
Yeah.
Like maybe he's been in England for a
doing
couple
some
hundred
Dracula
years.
stuff.
Doing some Dracula stuff. He's tracking down Dracula.
Can't wait till Blade
Dracula.
I can't wait till he kills Michael Morbius. My God.
Ah, what a thrill. But I think that's Blade, and I think they're going to form like a weird
That'd be
Magic
cool if it was
Avengers,
Blade.
I think.
That'd be great if it was Blade.
That'd be, and that's worth it for watching this 2.5 hour movie that felt like 3.5 hours.
I don't know about that, Mason. My question is, though, I guess, what are we doing here?
What do you mean?
Not this. I mean
yes.
this, but like, what are we building to in
Oh,
this?
like,
Like in this current phase?
We're in phase 4,
Is it
right?
Galactus? What's this cosmic threat? Like, do they know? I mean, they must know. What are we doing?
I maintain that, like in the last bunch of
They're
phases,
throwing a bunch of stuff out.
I think they're throwing a bunch of stuff at the wall. They're going to see what sticks. And I don't think they would ever admit that in a billion years, because Disney will never admit that they don't have a plan.
Yeah.
From what we can tell. They never admit to any mistakes or
You mean like when they reshot Solo in its entirety and they didn't admit it?
Yes, exactly right.
Is that what you mean? Is that an example of that thing you were
That's
talking
exactly
about?
what I mean, yeah. But I think that, did they admit that, or did it come out?
I think it was just known. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't film for 4 more months.
No, that's true, yeah. But I think they probably have gone, okay, well, here's some options.
Yep.
I think they've gone, what villains and character arcs do we have that we haven't used yet? We put them all on a board, and then we put out clues and breadcrumbs,
Yeah.
and we see which movies do well, which ones people respond to well on social media. Which characters does Boss Logic mock up?
Great question.
In Photoshop.
Yeah.
And
I heard he draws them. I heard he doesn't use computers.
oh, that's really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
So
what I
just
heard.
just
That's what
one of
I
those
heard.
big oddly shaped palettes of paints and
Yeah.
a big brush.
That's right.
And a
yeah.
beret.
And a beret.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah. And I think they're whichever one really hits. What's coming up next? What's the next thing?
Fuck, mate. Now you're testing me. Now you're bloody. You got me on the bloody.
Maybe
ropes
it's
now.
Blade.
Might be. I think Blade's a bit more down the line. But look, I think because they can work they could work the mutants into the Celestials because they're tied. They could work the Fantastic Four in because Galactus and space.
We've got a
and whatever.
multiverse now.
Yeah, I got a multiverse.
Could be Morlan, the Dracula
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man eating
Oh,
vampires.
speaking of BigSandwich.co, we did Spider-Man Life Story
That's
this
true, we
week.
did.
If people do want to check it out.
Oh,
What was I
yeah.
looking up?
The next Marvel movie.
Is it Doctor Strange? No, it's Spider-Man, then it's Doctor Strange
Yeah,
next.
right.
So, but then after that, it might be Black Panther and
Yeah, right.
I think it'll be bloody.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, so we
But
got
here's my question for you though, because we got to phase 3 before the previous storyline ended, essentially the Infinity Saga. So we're going to do 3 more phases. We're going to do 4, 5, and 6 before we get. So they've got plenty of time. I don't think they know yet.
Yeah, you might be right. So next one, Spider-Man: No Way Home, then Doctor Strange, then Thor: Love and Thunder, then Black Panther, then the Marvels, then Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That's in the next year, and then 2023, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp, then Fantastic Four to be announced. So we've got, and that's just and that's not including television.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you frickin' go.
All in all, get out there to your local cinemaplex.
Yeah, do it.
See this movie, I guess.
Let us know what
You got to see it. You got to see it.
Do you
to
got to
keep
see
up.
it? Do you got to see
keep
it to
up. Keep up. Keep up, Mason.
Okay.
You got to see it.
Yeah.
You got to see it twice. You got to keep up.
I don't know.
You missed that bit with the sword, so you got to go back
that's
and
true. I
confirm
got to go back
it.
and I got to confirm if she said. I got to confirm if she said the Black Blade Excalibur or if she said
Isn't
the Black
it the
Blade.
Ebony
No.
Blade?
Ebony Blade.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yes.
All right. Do you know what it's time for then?
Well, is it time for what we're reading?
Yep.
What are we going to read?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to watch Eternals again. Just kidding.
You don't want
Nah, probably won't.
it? Westworld.
Whoa.
Why didn't they stop Thanos?
Why did they stop Thanos?
You could have stopped Thanos.
Why did you stop Thanos?
I would have stopped Thanos. Good movie.
Yeah.
Mason.
Yes.
What are you reading this week?
Great question, James.
Yeah.
This week, as you know, James, Radio had to have a new video out, music video. It's called Follow Me Around. But what's interesting about it.
I mean, I already know.
Yeah.
No, wait, I don't know.
But also,
Whatever this
but
character
what's
is, I do.
No, that's true. But I watched it and it's a video clip. It's got Guy Pearce in it, and I'm like, I love Guy Pearce. I'm going to go back and rewatch some Guy Pearce stuff.
Oh, what'd you watch?
So
The
I watched-
Proposition.
No, I watched Jack Irish.
The show Jack Irish.
Yeah, the thing. Well,
I've never seen Jack Irish.
It's good. It's good. It's So it's Guy Pearce, Australia's own Guy Pearce, who we love. And he did a series of telly movies from like 2012
to now, maybe.
Yeah, to now. They're like
check.
made for TV movies and then a series.
Let me check.
And he plays a guy called Jack Irish. It's based on a series of books.
I think it's Jacqueline Irish.
Oh, thank you. And he's like a hotshot defense lawyer, but then he's one of his ex-clients kills his girlfriend.
Oh my
And
God.
So he gets out of the business, and he has a rough time of it. But then he sort of reemerges as like this kind of layabout sort of private investigator kind of guy. And he's
it's still going.
Yeah.
It's 2012 to present day. But sorry,
There
go
you
on.
go.
Yeah.
It's good. It's all set around Fitzroy.
Christmas? Yeah.
Yeah, it's set around Christmas, but also Fitzroy in Melbourne. It's good fun. It's got the dad from The Castle in it.
Oh, Jack Irish season 4 cancelled.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, there you
Well,
go.
probably because of reasons.
Jack Irish television drama series of I don't know.
But it's good
Might
fun.
come back.
Just
All
like
right, I
watching
should
Guy
check out
Pearce.
some Jack Irish then.
So the first one's called Bad Debts. If you're in Australia, it's on Netflix and Stan, and it's on ABC iView.
So we're not bloody hard up for bloody choice.
No,
are we?
exactly. But
But Netflix, because it's probably the best, most stable platform.
Exactly, and if you're outside of that, just use an Express VPN, perhaps.
If you can.
Yeah, and you can just watch that. I think it's good. It looks good and just good fun. It's good. It's a good just a good crime drama. Also, Kenny's in it.
I know Ken.
Shane Jacobson.
I like him. I've been reading from Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino,
yes.
Primordial. So in 1957, the USSR launched the dog Laika into Earth's orbit. 2 years
Yes.
later, the US responded with 2 monkeys, Abel and Baker. These animals never returned, but unbeknownst to everyone, they did not die in orbit. They were taken. So it's just a story of those animals, but like surreal space stuff and intelligent
it.
life and whatever.
Sounds
And
pretty cosmic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it.
that's good.
So it's been 2 issues so far, and that's all I have to say about it. And that's all I'll ever say about it.
Wow.
That's the most you'll get out of me, Mason.
Wow.
I'll tell you that much.
Loving that, Jeff Lemire. I also haven't gotten around to The Green Knight or Army of Thieves. So
you promised.
I promised.
You promised, Mason.
I promised I did.
I do want to watch Army of Thieves. I was going to watch it last night, but then I watched The Harder They Fall, which I will talk about.
I should get to that as well.
Yeah, watch
According to folks on the Planet Broadcasting Great Mates Facebook group, the main guy in Army of Thieves, actually German,
that. Yeah,
not
is he?
Scandinavian. And
never said
apparently
he
nobody likes him.
In real life?
Nobody in Germany likes him.
Why not?
I think he's like a James Corden kind of type.
Oh.
Or like
yeah, that'll do it.
like I got a lot of people.
Let's get
There's a lot of people in the
loud.
group being
Let's
like
get
a lot of
loud.
people in the group being like, I'm German, I don't like this guy. I don't like what he does. Like he's directed other stuff and I think he's like a
Oh,
German
that's
star
fun.
director, etc. So
That's
yeah, it is fun,
hilarious.
isn't it? Yeah.
Just local people that people hate. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
There's a few ones here that I won't reveal that people do not
Were
like.
they at the screening of Eternals?
No.
Okay.
Oh, actually, no. There was a few people, famous
Yeah.
comedians at that. Yeah. Anyway, Should we get on with the show?
Yeah, because it's time for letters.
Oh my God, already?
The classic one was
Letters, oh letters, we love you. Some letters, they're only a day away.
We're going to hear right now. We're going to do letters.
When I say already, this has been a very long show.
100 years.
But if you do want to reach the show, hashtag Weekly Planet Pod on Twitter or weeklyplanetpod@gmail.com.
I tell you what, though, it
are you
is
telling me?
good to get back onto the schedule.
Of?
Like just seeing movies.
Oh, it's great.
Just the very idea of like everybody's seeing all this stuff at the same time.
Yeah.
We all have our opinions. Some people think the movie is good and others think it's bad. You know, things like that.
I completely
But
agree.
it's nice to just be like, we'll get to that in 3 months. No Time to Die next week.
Yeah, and Venom whenever that's out. Is that out next week?
Can't remember.
I don't know. I don't care.
Maybe we'll double up again.
I'll have to see
We'll do the
Venom.
Lockdown, catch up, hoedown, or whatever we said it was.
Yeah, that's right.
Very
Catch up,
cool.
showdown, hoedown, modown.
That's right.
Yeah. I already did my tweet about the guy who wrote Morbius
Oh, yes?
from Craig.
Well, then I'll read an email.
Yeah, please do. But I've got another one, though.
Okay. This is from Hyro. Hey, guys, my name is Hyro, pronounced
Hyro.
Hyro. And I'm from Idaho. I've been listening to you guys for years now and have been subscribed to your awesome Big Sandwich Patreon. And I just wanted to ask you guys if there are any movies or TV shows you think were good/well made but have no intentions of ever revisiting them. For me, it's the movie Lady Bird and Lolita. Thanks for all the great, fun content. Keep up the good work.
I haven't seen either of those two. We talked about this a little bit before the show, but I think like Breaking Bad, I don't think I love, but I don't think I'll go back to. Like The Leftovers, I'll probably never go back to.
Is that because there's so much to get through?
So much of it, yeah.
Yeah. My feeling is always like there's a lot of stuff that is quite harrowing.
Yeah.
Like or like very intense
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Like the movie Invisible Man, which we talked about recently with
I've seen that I've watched that a couple of times.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Moss is in that one. I think that's a really well made movie and like very good, but it's like it's so intense. I'm like, I don't want to feel any feelings right now.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Fair enough.
But for me, it's that sort of stuff. It's like, intense thriller horror stuff. I think,
Yeah,
where
yeah,
I'm like, I see everybody's put a lot of work into this and it's really good, but I'm like,
no, thank you, not for me.
no, thank you, not for me, no.
Not twice.
Yeah.
Movie so nice, I watched it once.
That's right.
As the expression.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm like that for a lot of horror stuff. Maybe it's because it's just not that, I don't know, it's not really a genre that appeals to me.
Yeah. Or no,
in
horror also like really intense drama as well, that sort of stuff.
I would say like a lot of comic book movies, if I didn't like come back to them for like this, I probably wouldn't return to,
Interesting.
you know? There are exceptions. The Dark Knight for Heath Ledger's performance alone.
Absolutely, yeah.
But, like, I wouldn't watch Iron Man 2 ever again if I didn't watch, we didn't do it
Right.
came out of garbage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
You just go to YouTube and you type in Iron Man 2 briefcase suit up
Yes.
scene and you just watch
But then
that.
again, they're like, I'm talking about like average movies then, aren't I? Not like terrific stuff.
That's true.
I've seen The Godfather, but
you say The Godfather?
The Godfather.
Is that the prequel to Gone Girl?
Correct.
Is that where the Gone Girl came from?
That's where
From
she
the
came from. It's
Godfather?
about her father, Godfather.
Wow.
But I've never seen Godfather 2, and I want to watch it, but I know that I have to watch Godfather 1 again because I haven't
Right,
seen it in like
yeah.
20 years. So now I'm just like, I've just been putting that off forever.
Okay.
Anyway, I've got a tweet here from
Go on.
Spurnsy Sportingista.
Spursy!
Hashtag Weekly Planet Pod. Hi, James and Maso. What is your favorite thing that is better than the original thing? I know that makes no sense, but for example, the best Fantastic Four thing is The Incredibles and so on.
Oh, yeah,
Love the
right.
pod. Keep up the good work from Oliver and then smiley face. I did this to you before the show because I couldn't think of anything, but
Yeah.
then I managed to think of a few.
All right.
I think 28 Days Later is probably the best zombie movie, but it's not like a Dawn of the Dead
Yeah,
movie.
right, okay,
You know what I
sure,
mean? It's
sure.
not in that continuity
Yeah,
or in
right.
that world or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I think that's probably a good example. Upgrade and Venom.
Oh,
Upgrade is a
definitely,
much
yeah,
better
yeah.
version than Venom.
Yeah.
And this might be a bit controversial, but I think Indiana Jones is better than James Bond. And Indiana Jones
Okay.
came into being because George Lucas and Steven Spielberg wanted to do a Bond movie, or
Yeah,
Spielberg
right.
in particular, and he couldn't.
Yeah.
So George Lucas said, well, let's just make one. And I guess it's also because there's only been 4 for now.
That's true, yeah.
And there's a million James Bond movies.
What is a better Superman than anything Superman has ever produced? There's got to be one.
Far out.
Invincible? Is Invincible better
Yeah, it
than
might be. Let me check.
I mean, Superman and Lois obviously is a very good example, but in terms of like a big budget movie.
How do I even Google this? Best non-Superman Superman movie.
yeah, right.
Jesus.
Brightburn is a pretty good.
Yeah, but I wouldn't
it's a
say
different
it's
genre, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
If I just type it, I mean, you could say like Chronicle is a better
That's true.
Something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's better than something, isn't it?
Sure is.
Yeah.
Better than a big pile of garbage.
Yeah, God. Like, I would say, like, Kingsman, the first Kingsman is better than most Bond movies.
Yeah, okay, sure.
But, you know, I'm trying to think.
Well, it's interesting because a lot of these sort of start out as, like, parodies.
Yeah.
Like, Kingsman is a parody of the Bond movies.
It certainly is. I don't know. I'm interested to know what people have, like, opinions on that. Because, you know.
Yeah.
What's a better version of The Mask? Is it
The Mask 2?
Yeah, very good. Have you got anything else, or should we wrap it up?
I've got another email here.
Please.
This is from Bledden.
Bledden.
It says the subject line says, Nick Mason ruined my life.
Thank God.
So
you and me
here we
both,
go.
Bledden. Got him.
Take it bloody number and get in line,
We got him, Bledden.
He says, hi both. Good luck pronouncing my name right. I know you won't. I reckon it's Bledden.
I think it's Bledden.
He's asked if he could be the honorary Welshman in London, so it's probably not pronounced Bledden.
It's probably Bledden.
It's probably Bladen? Brandon. It's probably Brandon.
I think it's Bledden.
Hello, Brandon. Anyways, you can tell by the subject, Mason has ruined my life. About a year ago, he mentioned that he'd begun reading the comic Die. I thought it sounded great, so started reading it, and this is when things took a turn. I fully fell back into reading and buying as many comics as I could. Thanks a lot. Die was great, by the way. Reading comics really helped to get me through the pandemic and gave me something to look forward to when I couldn't do anything else, even though it had me sitting in front of the window all morning complaining to my girlfriend every day that the postman hadn't been yet. 5 stars for the pod, and could I be the honorary Welshman in London of the pod, please? From Brandon.
Thank you, Bledden. That's cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's good. I find as well, like, sometimes I just won't look at a comic for months, but then I'm like,
I'm looking at this comic.
I'm going to look right at this comic and no one can stop me because it's a free country.
I'm trying to think. What was I going to say?
Bloody, why start now, mate?
You got me.
Yes.
He bloody got me. And look, it's the week of his wedding, so I'm going to go. He's up. I know he's a bit jittery, so I'm going to let that one slide. I can't remember what I was going to say.
Something about comics?
I don't know. I honestly can't remember. Oh, yeah, I want to go back to Die, but I stopped reading it between months.
Yeah.
And now I'm months behind, so I'm going to have to start again.
Yeah,
it's quite
exactly.
complicated, but it's very good. Anyway, I think that's probably the show, though, isn't it?
That's the whole show. Thank you folks so much for listening. Thanks for sticking it out while we were way behind on them at the movies.
You really did stick it out with us.
And we appreciate that very much.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed.
And now you're rewarded with this 2 hours-ish podcast, I guess.
I hope you enjoy our movie reviews. I hope you enjoyed all the delightful no movie topic episodes we talked about. I hope you enjoyed the episodes that were obviously filler. Folks, thank you for subscribing to the podcast. Thank you for telling your friends about the podcast. Thank you for lying to your friends about the podcast so they would listen. Do a bit of trickery. We always appreciate. Thank you for leaving a 5-star review for the podcast because they really help out. James, do you have any there?
Got a couple here, mate. This is from High Noon.
That was very aggressive.
From High Noon Tex, brackets Peyton H, who says, best podcast ever. You can do this in app, by the way. It's incredible. The Weekly Planet is simply the best podcast ever. Every week, James slowly loses his mind and Mason revels in the chaos. These boys have been a consistent, positive presence in my life for years, and I can't wait every week for the next episode of the show. So you can write something really heartfelt and touching like that, or you can put 5 stars like this for like Michael Carlson 22, who says beef Wellington, and then it's just a very long and involved beef Wellington recipe.
Oh,
so if you are looking for a beef Wellington recipe, you can look in our reviews and it will be there.
I love beef Wellington.
Then there you go, mate. You order a beef Wellington every now and then, don't you?
I look at a beef Wellington, yeah.
This guy's out of his mind. I hope there's little beef Wellingtons at your wedding reception, just finger food.
That's right.
Is that just a sausage roll?
It's a sausage roll. Yeah, exactly.
It's not the same, but go on.
That's right, folks. If you want to get into contact with us, you can go to Weekly Planet Pod at Gmail, at Facebook, at Twitter, at Bandcamp. You can go to the Planet Broadcasting Great Mates Facebook group, as previously mentioned, or the Planet Broadcasting Weekly Planet Discord or the Weekly Planet subreddit. They're all out there. They've got a lot of people out there. They're having fun chats. We're having a great time over there.
Probably
are. Let's see. You can also follow at the Weekly Planet on Twitter, at Raw Collins on Twitter. Both of those are Raw Collins. He edits this podcast. He edits videos. He goes nuts. He's out of control.
He can't be stopped.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're thinking of having him put down.
Excuse me? I was not.
She's working too hard.
Wow, I was not CC'd in this discussion.
No, that's all right.
Wow, all right.
I would never. He's
all right.
terrific. He's
well,
terrific.
all right. If I can just get in here for a minute, I think you should. If I can finally have an opinion on this. Folks, you can follow me on Twitter at Wikipedia Brown. You can follow me on Instagram at Nick Maso, NickMaseEAU. James is Mr. Sunday Movies everywhere.
Yep.
If you want to buy some, if you want to support the show.
Yes.
You go to patreon.com/Mr. Sunday Movies. You can chuck in $1. You can chuck in any amount, couple of bucks, 50 cents, doesn't matter. Whatever you wouldn't miss.
Fine with us.
Month, fine with us. Helps,
Fine with us.
Helps keep the lights on in here and the bloody aircon. I tell you what, today
He's
of all
He's not
days.
bloody wrong, mate.
You
not
can also
bloody
go
wrong,
to
this guy.
bigsandwich.co. You can sign up for $9 reduced per month. We've got all kinds of bonus podcasts, movie commentaries, all kinds of things.
Yeah, there's probably
fun.
too many things up there at this
So
point,
many
isn't
things.
there?
Hundreds of
Yeah.
hours, probably.
Book clubs this week.
Yeah.
Next week's a different thing. We're trying to work out what commentary we're going to do for this month. Maybe something Spider-Man leading up to Spider-Man. And next month for December, we need to do something Christmas themed. So we could do like a Home Alone. We could do a Die Hard.
Spider-Man, could we break out this copy of Spider-Man No Way Home that we've been sent, and we can just commentate over the top of that?
I want to keep that in pristine condition, Mason.
Okay, well,
and then accidentally step on it one day.
Yeah, great.
And render it worthless.
Should I leave it on the floor then?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, great.
Good. Just with all my other DVD that I have.
That's right. We've got some teas over at tpublic.com. Just search for The Weekly Planet.
Just shoot on over there.
Shoot on over there. Also, thank you to The Brute and The Basilisk and Rackham for all our musical themes, and that is the podcast next week, No Time to Die.
That's
Is
right.
it good? We don't know yet. I was going to see it today, but I didn't. Slept in instead.
Yeah, we'll see it next week.
Yeah, we'll see it next week.
And
We'll
we'll
be
talk
out
about
next week,
it if we've got things to say. Let me check when Venom 2 is out.
Okay. I think it is out next week as well. Going to double up.
Oh, God, I've got the international bloody release date. Oh, I don't want to watch Venom. No, November 25th. We've got a bit of time.
We've got a bit of time to,
Thank God.
to steal ourselves for Venom.
Yeah, thank flippin' God.
Whoa.
All right, let's get out of
That's
here.
language worthy of Venom, the rudest superhero there is. Folks, grab that jam. We will see you next week.
Good and bye.
Riddance. Oh, I'm in bye.
This podcast is part of the Planet Broadcasting Network.
Visit planetbroadcasting.com for more podcasts from our great mates.
I mean, if you want. It's up to you.